podcast on this May 9th. We're video streaming on our YouTube channel live from Ferg's Sports Bar and Grill, America's #1 sports bar as voted by USA Today. I'm Mike Rickard alongside baseball Ben Botham, fresh off his little escapade to Key West. Ooh. And, of course, Ray Kennedy, the Rapid Ray Kennedy. Brad Richardson's out today, and Nick Cowan should be here maybe in the second hour. But we got a great show. As usual, we're going to have conversation with Mark Lindsay. This guy's an icon in the Tampa Bay Rowdies community. When the original team, I think, they're celebrating their 50th anniversary, Ray.
Yeah, no, 50th was last year.
Last year.
Yes, sir.
And they're giving these guys their props, which is superb. And I had about a half-hour conversation with him. He's from Bristol, England. The Tottenham Hotspur is his favorite team. If you see on this, I've got one of those, their lids right here. And then we'll talk about the incredible success right now of the Tampa Bay Rowdies.
Best team in the USL.
And we are going to be having a lot of conversations. I got that all locked down. I'll be sending Tristan to those games, the home games. And, of course, they're on the road this week. And then the wise one, Peter Gollenbach. He's joining us, of course.
That's right.
Yeah. And he's asking all about, make sure Ben's there. Make sure Ben's
absolutely.
there.
And don't forget, he wants to rub it
And
in.
Ray, Ben and Ray.
Well, he wants to. He wants to rub it in. The Yankees are still a game and a half ahead of us, or a game in hand, maybe.
Yeah,
but
he's
wants
not
to
a
rub that
Yankees
in.
fan.
No, he's not.
No,
he's a Rays fan.
He was a Yankees fan. He's converted. And then Wyatt Ross, sadly, will join us to do a wrap of the Tampa Bay Lightning season, and his opinion on the changes that need to take place in 2027. And there's all kinds of rumors out there, but we'll let Wyatt Ross handle that for us. And as I said, Peter Gollenbach, he's penned over 40 books, 7 Mickey Mantle, Bronx Zoo, Billy Martin, just to name a few of the titles. And he had a radio show up in New York City for quite some time.
Roger Maris in the parking lot of a bar up in, what was it, Georgia, that he went up there. He didn't even expect to interview him that night, but the people he's talked to and the stories he's heard.
Roger Maris from North Dakota, by the way.
Yes, sir.
Well, we've got Mark Lindsay on the phone. We're efforting him from a video perspective, but you're old school. I'm old school.
Yeah.
Love having you
How
on
you
the
doing?
radio, my man. How are you?
Good, mate. Good. I'm actually sitting in a car park outside of Dillard's, and my wife's in there shopping. So I do apologise.
A car park. I love it.
No, Mark, that takes us local.
Exactly.
Hey, Mark, I want to ask you, what are your plans for this summer, from the middle of July, when the World Cup is all over the entire North American continent and all over the entire United States? Where's Mark Lindsay going to be? Where does he plan on taking in some of that World Cup soccer?
Well, I'm not going to be spending all this money to go and watch live games, but I've got a bunch of buddies that we typically end up at some pub someplace, an Irish pub or something like that.
What's wrong? What's wrong with Ferg's? We're gonna have a big bash down here. I'll get you a table, man.
Oh, really?
I'll get you a table. Get you some Ferg's bucks to show our respect for some of the OGs, the originals of the Rowdies empire. In their 51st year. You have a great relationship with the new head coach. Share that with our audience a little bit.
Yeah. So. Dominic Cassiato, and this is it's purely just like coincidence, but he comes from basically the same neighbourhood that I was born and raised in England. So we hit it off right away a few months ago when he first came, about a year ago, and he's done an unbelievable job, mate. I mean, just unbelievable. He got rid of, and when I say got rid of, it's not fair to just say that, but he changed 17 players out of the 20-man roster. So he only kept 3 players from last year. And one of the things that he did, which I'm really, really pleased about, and it's good, is he went out and he started talking to old people like me and asking us if we would like to come.
Experienced. I don't want to hear old people on our show. Experienced, knowledgeable guys like you.
So experienced, knowledgeable old guys like me, basically. No. So basically, what happened is that he brought in the likes of me and Mike Connell, Rodney Marsh, and some of these other guys, and just asked them if we would come in and kind of talk about the way the Rowdies started, and the the rise, how quickly the seating capacity just exploded in a matter of months, and things like that. So just wanted to kind of give them the historical value of what you're doing here and what you're getting engaged in. Unfortunately, there's been a huge gap, as you probably know, going back, maybe 2 or 3 decades, really, where it's kind of, it just hasn't picked up the momentum that it once had. So that's a little bit difficult, but we're making it back again, Mike. We're starting to get back again, which is good. I really like what they're doing.
And I wanted to ask you, if I may, about Coach Casciato. He sat here and he told us that he appreciated coming here, but he had the success in the 2 stops, or the stops he had before he got here, winning not only the division, but then winning the championship. And he talked about what it meant to come to a team that wasn't just a fly-by-night or someone who could, but had a 51-year history, and it goes back to you. What is it about Coach Casciato now, especially with the turnover in players of the new team, that makes him a leader of men and has this Rowdies team, the best team in the USL?
Well, one of the big things that happened when we first came over here in '75 is that you practice in the morning, you get cleaned up at lunchtime, and in the afternoon you go and open up stores or you go to schools, and you get out into the community and you talk about what we are and why we're here. Because if you was just driving around all these streets and these schools and all this stuff, you could never find or never see any goals, any soccer goals. There was none of that. So you'd have to go to a high school, or you go to a kindergarten school, and you'd have to show kids how to head a ball and tell them, no, you have to keep your eyes open. Don't close your eyes because it's going to hit you on the nose, things like that. So, we really got engaged in the community first and foremost. That was really, really important. And then, as you guys know, the Bucks came along the next year after us, right? So in 1976, the end zones were put on Tampa Stadium, Sombrero at the time.
Yes.
And it took the capacity from 44,000 on each, 22,000 on each side, capacity 44,000. They put the end zones on, and it ends up, becoming a 72,000 stadium. In 1976, just before the Bucks started off, in the summertime, we got like 40-something thousand people came out to watch Pele play. I mean, in a year's time, we go from 0 to 44,000 people.
Phenomenal.
And
It was.
And I was there. I was actually at that. And I have a question to ask you. I want to know if this is me looking back. I remember that Pele in that game, actually, and it was at the southern goal, he actually did try to attempt the famous bicycle kick. I don't know. I think he connected, but he missed the net. Am I remembering that correctly? Because you were in that game.
You were absolutely spot on, yeah. And
Bravo, Raymond.
I know.
Yeah, that's very, very good, yeah. And much appreciated, by the way, to keep that in the back of your head. I mean, that's fantastic. All these years, 50 years ago.
Let me ask you, where was it you used to play? Because you guys went to the indoor. You played on the indoor Rowdies too. And was it at the Curtis Hickson Hall, or did you ever play over in the Bayfront Center when you were playing for a couple of years there?
Yeah. So it was at the Bayfront Center, and and they didn't have plexiglass. It was like an ice hockey thing. They didn't have plexiglass. They had wire, right?
Yeah. Right.
And when you go into the corner, you used to grab hold of the wire to kind of stop you from running too fast. You could actually hold the wire.
You could have got decapitated.
Well, let me tell you. All right, let me tell you. So my wedding ring, right, ends up going, where if you was to hold your hand up and look at your wedding ring, the ring goes underneath your skin, and it's lodged underneath your skin, halfway under. And the only reason I've kind of realised it is because my fingers were all tacky, and I look down and there's blood everywhere dripping off my elbow. I'm thinking, how did that happen? And as I'm thinking to myself, how could this have happened? And it was like grabbing hold of the wire.
What the hell was it? Was it barbed wire?
Well, no, but it was.
I know.
It was like a chicken wire, but better grade.
That's it. Yeah, he was chicken wire.
I was
Yeah,
climbing on him. I was climbing. I was a 9-year-old climbing on those things while you guys were getting cut
This
by 'em.
reminds me of some of the Bucks old stories
Yeah.
about the.
That was Tampa Bay, and that's why. Thank you.
My dad still has a scrapbook from the Rowdies. Like, he put together newspaper clippings, everything. And his favorite players were Rodney Marsh, the clown prince of soccer, Oscar Fabiani, and Neil Roberts. And his brother actually won a game-worn Neil Roberts jersey for fan appreciation. Was one
What
of the
about
things that
Mark
they did.
Lindsay?
Well, maybe
Your dad's,
he
your
was
dad's
probably in
listening
there.
right now. We'll convert him, Mark.
So basically, anytime anybody talks about Mark Lindsay, it's Paul Revere and the Raiders. They think I'm a singer.
I forgot about those guys. So how was it
so when
playing
you
on
got it- so what-
Bandstand?
So basically, I think, and this applies to basically anything that you do, is like you've got to understand what your parameters are, right? So whether you're playing NFL, ice hockey, it doesn't matter. As a player, you have to understand what you can do and what you can't do. And just because you have a couple of good games, you can't just think that, oh, I'm better than I was 2-3 weeks ago, so I'm going to change the way that I play, right? So basically, very early on, people like Rodney Marsh were great entertainers. That's what they were. They had good dribbling skills. They'd do all this kind of stuff, and they'd fall on the ground and make some type of a gesture.
Heartthrob looks, $1 million Hollywood looks, but that goes with the territory, right, Mark?
Exactly. And they used to say to people like me, Mark, you just go and win the ball, and then once you've won the ball, just give me the ball. And then you go back and wait for the next time.
Win the ball and then get the hell out of the way. Is that what they're telling you?
Basically, yeah. And if you try to do something with the ball, you're going to look like an idiot. So oh, okay, Rod. I'll just give it to you then, right? Oh yeah, just give it to me.
I just bend it like Beckham and say, take that. But Mark, let me ask you. You talked about when you came here in '75, and you guys did establish first because the Buccaneers came second. And then now Coach Casciato, he talked to us here the week he started before the season this year, and he talked about the legacy and continuing that. Have you seen that with reaching out to you guys, the OG, and also reaching out to the community and that's the reason why the players are buying into this community spirit and this like St. Petersburg vibe or Tampa Bay vibe?
Yeah, I think it's basically, really, really simple. I mean, it's more than just, it's more than just the game itself. It's like it's creating relationships, and so like I'll give you an example. Clyde Best is doing his documentary right now down at the Palladium downtown St. Petersburg.
Yes, sir. Last night.
And yeah, and it actually is doing it again tonight. So he's having three nights in a row: Thursday, Friday, and tonight. And when we came here, the idea of it is reaching out to people, just reaching out to people. And I'll give you an example. We all lived in the same apartment complex to begin with, right? The whole club, we all stayed in the same apartment complex. So all the kids and all the families and all that stuff, we would all go in the swimming pool, jacuzzis. It was fantastic, Now, Big Daddy Clyde Best, he's like 5 years older than me, and he has a daughter. And at the time, she was like 18 months old, and her name's Kimberly. And we used to say to Clyde and his wife Frida, look, if you want to go out for a nice bite to eat tonight, we'll look, if you want to go down to Burns or whatever, we'll look after Kimberly. And that was how this whole thing kind of meshed together. It wasn't just jumping in your car and driving off. I'll see you tomorrow.
Family.
We actually lived together.
Family.
We lived together.
And family, I'll tell you what, let me ask you about with the family, with the three players from Marshall on this team, this Rowdies team, even with the turnover, and I'm sorry I don't know their names offhand, that kind of communal feel, is that why this team is meshed so quickly and leads the USL currently, that kind of family feeling Coach Casciato's brought to our 2026 Rowdies?
And that's what's made him, that's what separated him from all the previous guys. He understands, what's necessary to do. And it's a lot more than just playing soccer. I know it's weird, but it's true. It's true.
Well,
I mean, we're in a market now where people have got, X amount of money to spend, and, what are they going to go and watch with that money? And you have to try and increase what you have at the moment, which, you know, I mean, I think about 3 or 4, 5,000 people are going out and watching some of these games, but we need to sell the place out. You know, we need to get more people coming out and watching and enjoying it, and youth kids and stuff like that coming out.
It really
You
is.
know, so to,
It really is a kick in the grass, and I mean that's the simplest thing we can say, because that carries all 51 years and through still today, right?
That's
The
it.
rowdies are here, the rowdies are there. They kick the ball around. The rowdies are here,
Oh,
the rowdies.
dude.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Seriously, is that was that it?
Then they fall on the ground. Oh, the rowdies. Oh, the rowdies. The rowdies are. Finish it, Mark.
Ray, the entertainer.
A kick in the grass.
I love it.
That's pretty cool.
Love it.
Hey,
Yeah. So
give-
you know, the funny thing was, like, you know, if we were to go to, like, you know, like an interview, like a pub or things like that, you know, they would always sort of like say, like, you know, so tell us about, you know, the team, Mark. You know, what's the club all about? And we used to sort of say, you know, what we are, we're a drinking team with a soccer problem.
I love
And
it.
people
It's
look
my
at you
kind
as
of
if you-
team.
Yeah, I think you're converting baseball Ben into a soccer fan now.
So, you know, the funny thing is that, like, nobody was laughing. You know, people would, you know, be talking to you, go, for real? You know, go, oh yeah. Well, I mean, we're drunk every night, mate. It's like, oh my
Well,
God.
that's the Englishman in you.
That's
We're
family.
talking to Mark Lindsay here on the Tampa St. Pete Sports Connection, and you're watching our YouTube channel. Please give us a like and follow, as we have plenty of humor, entertainment, and the insight on sports. And right now, the Red Hot Rowdies need a little momentum from a media perspective, conversation. But I think, Mark, that comes from you guys being Brits, and even Americans have been watching. What's that show that's been on?
Wrexham.
Wrexham.
Yes.
You see the
yeah.
you see the community involved. I mean, it's a family environment, like you said.
Yeah.
And it's drinkers
Yeah.
and it's kids and it's
It's a
generational, right?
It's a community.
It's generational, and that got dropped off, unfortunately, here with the Rowdies. But I think we got the right guy at the helm, and I know Ryan Helfrich loves that model because it touches everybody. And Al Lang is a superb venue. I mean, one of the best in the USL. You can't find a more spectacular view to the east and the downtown skyline.
Willie Mays said it's the best place for baseball.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did.
So-
He certainly did.
Yeah, I get a phone call last night at about 10 o'clock, and it's Ryan, and he says, I've just bumped into a woman in Boston, you know, because they're going up there for the game.
Yeah.
Just bumped into this woman who says she knows you. So I said, oh wow, you know, in the airport. So I said, well, you know, did you get her name? He said, no. I said, well, how do I know who she is? Like, you know?
Yeah. And you've been happily married for over 4 decades, so we know it. It's not one of your groupies coming back from the 70s.
Oh, no. I've always been a good boy as far as that's concerned. I mean, I was 20 years old when I came to Tampa, and my girlfriend was 18. How her parents let her come, you know, it was amazing. But, you know, in fact, my wife's younger brother graduated out of high school in Rhode Island. And when I first met Jackie between Christmas New Year's '74, I said, like, you know, I'm going to be going over to America, to Florida, in the springtime. So she said, well, that's good. She said, because I'm going to America as well. Back in those days, you know, mid '70s, there wasn't a great deal of transatlantic flights going and all that kind of stuff, you know, not like today. And I said to her, I can't believe that. So as we started dating, I said to her, like, you know, well, next week I'm going to be going over, you know, to Tampa. You know, if you'd like to come down, you know, from Boston, you know, feel free to do so. You know, it'd be great. It'd be great to have you down. So she comes and stays with me for 3 weeks, right? And during that 3-week period, we go into the playoffs, and, you know, we don't concede a goal in the playoffs. We go to San Jose, and in San Jose, a helicopter comes down in the middle of the field before the kickoff, and Lou Rolls, the singer, oh, you know, you'll never find
Really? Yeah, of course
He
I know
jumps
who
out.
he is.
You'll never find.
He jumps, yeah, as long as you live. So he jumps out the helicopter, and behind him is Pele, right? So you've got now 20,000 people, you know, in the San Jose stadium, and they're like just roaring and going crazy. It was unbelievable. So I called my dad and I said, hey, Dad, after the game, I called my dad and I said to him, Dad, you're not going to believe this. Pele just came down in the helicopter. And he turns around and he goes, Mark, do you know what the time is? So I'm like,
Oh yeah, you're in Cali calling him.
he goes, no, he's in, my dad's in London.
3 a.m.
And he goes, it's like 3 o'clock in the morning, son. Call me later.
I don't give a damn about Pele. I don't care about Lou Rawls.
And Mark,
That's right. Yeah.
Mark, if I ask, now the Rowdies are in Rhode Island tonight. They've had some trouble with this team. I think they've beat them the last 7 times. Rhode Island has. How are the Rowdies? What do we have to do tonight to continue to be the best team in the USL and stay unbeaten in 2026?
Yeah, it's a good question. So number one is the most important part of it all is not giving up goals, and they've done a great job with that, because that's defense wins tournaments. We all know that, right? We watch the Super Bowl and we watch all these things, and you look at it, and then the core, the guys that score the goals and get the touchdowns, they don't get the accolades that they deserve, but the people that actually stop the other team should be recognized a lot more. And it's no different in NFL, and it's no different in football, soccer, and they're doing a great job in terms of conceding goals, and that's what's going to keep them going.
And Mark, may I drop right here? Attention, United States of America, as we're hosting the World Cup in 2026, all of North America. Mark Lindsay just explained to us the beauty of soccer. It's not just about 20-3 games or that. It's the defense, the shooting out, the going in the hockey.
An exciting 1-0 game.
Well, but you're playing defense up and down constantly. I mean, that's great. That's a good match, right, Mark?
Oh yeah, I mean,
Mark, wait a minute.
So funny.
Mark, wait a minute. You run your ass off for what? An hour?
90 minutes.
And you get 90 minutes, and you get 1 goal. That's where I had to make the conversion to start following soccer, because hockey is very comparable. I mean, lots of activity, very few scores.
A little more action.
Well, you see it in hockey. We see it last night with a goal. A Buffalo guy, it's the goalie misses it, but a defenseman gets in there with a stick and knocks it out, literally saves the game-winning goal. And that's the same thing in soccer. The goalie may get caught out of the box or out of position, but it's the defender that gets down, or even maybe the offender that came all the way down and bounces that ball off of the cross guard. That's the beauty of the play.
Absolutely, I couldn't agree with you more. And I was a defensive-minded player, so you're spot on. You're 100%. I didn't get recognised.
That's why
That's why you were touting defense, because you were a defensive guy.
That's why I dropped that tip for you.
That's right.
That's why I dropped it for you, Mark.
Well,
I remembered that.
That's kind of like in football. It's hard to kind of, I don't know, calculate the defensive metrics of their impact on the game. You hear this all the time when they talk about like Heisman Trophy winners, and it never goes to a defensive guy, obviously.
Chicks dig the long ball.
MVPs, yeah.
MVPs, all that kind of
Well,
stuff.
one thing, Mark, you've embraced it, as Ben's discussing. You've embraced NFL football. You actually bought season tickets to the Bucks back in the day, didn't you?
I went and watched the very, very first game the Buccaneers ever played.
19.
Pre-season.
Yes, sir.
None of you guys are going to know who we played against, Stephen.
I'm going to guess it was the Kansas City Chiefs.
No.
Okay. It was preseason, Mark. Who was it?
Who was it?
I'm not going to tell you. Look it up, man. Do a Wikipedia or something. But no. So basically, we played against the Miami Dolphins.
Oh,
that's a given.
And Steve Spurrier was the quarterback.
Yes, sir. And Barry Smith was the wide receiver.
yeah. He knows Barry. I actually met Mark Lindsay via the godfather of the Florida Sports Hall of Fame, Barry Smith. He said, "You need a soccer guy. Mark Lindsay's your man."
He is.
He did.
Oh my God. Yeah. So basically, I mean, I paid him off to say that to you, by the way.
Yeah. Hey.
No, and some of the old football players, NFL players as well. Every now and again we get together, because when we not when we very first came here, but the second year that we were here, we used to stay at, what was the name of that? Yeah, we used to stay at the Racket Club. Do you remember that?
I want to say it
Do you
was off
remember?
North Himes, like up off northeast of the stadium, or was it more down the West Shore?
Yeah, you're going up down Maybury,
Right.
and then you get to
You passed
was it
you passed the
Hillsborough?
strip joints.
Yeah, yeah. You go past all those strip places, and then you go over Hillsborough, and then where the Volvo dealership is, as you're going north on Down Maybury.
North Del Maybury,
You go
right.
you go over the hump, where Hillsborough's going, and then you turn left, where the Volvo dealership is there on Down Maybury.
Mark, did they used to run the Here Come the Vacuums? Didn't they used to run those for the Rowdies games too? And Bill Curry Ford, I think, used to cross promote also.
Here come the vacuums.
Remember those, Mark? Here come the vacuums, and the vacuum would go across that little Digitron we had there in the north end zone at the old Big Sombrero.
Well, I don't know about
I
that
would-
because
Okay,
it
my bad.
might have been after I left, quite frankly, because I played 75, 76, and 77. So just before the 78 season started, I got traded to Houston. So I
Damn.
didn't want to do.
I bet you that wasn't a favorable trade for you.
No, it was terrible, terrible, terrible.
Mark,
But I will tell you one. I will tell you one thing that you might appreciate. Is that I think around about 1981, we actually came to Tampa, and I was playing for the California Surf out of Anaheim, and we actually beat the Rowdies 3-1, and it ended up being the biggest attended Rowdies game of all time. There was 56,000 people in Tampa Stadium.
My
A lot of
God,
people
those
have a-
crowds were huge.
they were huge.
For
Yeah,
soccer?
and
Yeah.
people
Were they giving away free
yeah,
beer?
It was only a
But-
dollar.
I must say that it was the 4th of July, though. I mean, that's the fireworks and all that kind of
Well, we
stuff,
got to go-
lasers and fireworks.
And I'm glad you said
yeah,
that. Well, Mark, I'm sorry. I'm glad you said that because we all got to go onto the field for the fireworks, and it brings me to the pitch. Even back then, please
Yep.
tell the Tampa Bay fans today at Raymond James in 2026, in 1976 and 77, 5, the Big Sombrero had the best pitch in soccer in the league.
Yeah, the actual grass itself was absolutely fantastic, but
Right.
because of the drainage issues that they had, there was a big camber on the field. It wasn't flat.
Yeah.
The pitch itself wasn't flat.
No.
It had this big camber, and so a lot. If you're sitting on the bench on one side, you can only see
Whoa.
the guy's head on the far side of the field.
I didn't realize
It's
that.
kind of weird.
It was,
yeah.
and it was like
Yeah.
that. So how was that to play soccer?
I was gonna say, how'd you play
how'd
on
that
it?
change the game?
Well, when you're 5'7", it was good for me because they couldn't see me. So, no, but basically it was it really wasn't a hindrance or anything like that. But I mean, you've got to understand. I mean, some of the places that we played at the beginning of the North American Soccer League, we was playing in like high schools and colleges and things like this. Like really small type fields. But Tampa was, I would say, one of the, if not the best place to come and play. The actual grass. The grass quality was
The
the best
Bermuda.
in the country.
That Bermuda grass was like heaven. It was silk.
Yeah.
We're talking
Yeah,
to Mark.
it's like that. It's like that now. It's like that now at the Al Lang Stadium. Their grass is really nice.
Oh, it
there.
is beautiful. It's
Yes,
so
it
beautiful.
is beautiful, and that's a beautiful, it's a beautiful setting as we discussed in the opening of the show. You got, and I talked to Ryan Helfrich about it. He goes, in the country, we have one of the best locations. You got that gorgeous view of Tampa Bay. You've got the St. Pete skyline. I mean, it's a great franchise to get involved with. The Rays own him now, new ownership, new energy. I think the future's bright. But as I mentioned to you, and we talked about it with Ryan, programs that are rich in tradition are successful typically. And they're going back and reaching into the successful years of soccer in this marketplace. And I think it's a positive.
So let me just give my good buddy Clyde Best a bit of support here.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about
so-
Clyde Best.
Yeah. So Clyde Best, comes from Bermuda originally. Went to London when he was a young kid, teenager, 17, and he played for a team called West Ham, which is a Premier League team at the moment. They could get relegated in the next 2 or 3 weeks. But anyway, Clyde, after all these years, has been given like the what is it? The member of the British Empire. Because obviously, Bermuda's part of the England umbrella, and he's just been phenomenal over the years. And he's got this documentary going on right now, and tonight's going to be the last night. So I would like to just promote, if you wouldn't mind me doing that, that if you're out there and you're in the community and you remember some of these old players and some of these old times, do come out and spend some time with us tonight at 7:30 at the Palladium downtown St. Petersburg.
Well, we're winding things up with Mark Lindsay. He's one of the original Tampa Bay Rowdies. He's got a great story. Let's do a little quick history for our audience, because I want to have you on more often during this season, because obviously you guys are kind of the lucky penny now with that undefeated seasons. Share with our audience where you grew up. I know that we have one thing in common, thanks to my son. I'm a Tottenham Spurs. Hotspurs.
Yeah.
Hotspurs. I always get that wrong. Tottenham Hotspurs. In fact, I know so much about soccer, I thought that was a basketball on top of their emblem. But anyway,
That's in San Antonio.
talk a little bit about your youth.
Okay, so I was born and raised in London, and my wife, we're actually sitting in the car. They've come out of the shops empty-handed, by the way,
Nice.
which is unbelievable.
Hey, did you tell your lovely bride that I said you outkicked your coverage when you met her?
Oh. No, she's laughing. She knows better. And I've also, which is a bonus, I've also got my cousin Leslie, who's in the background here.
Oh, yeah.
You got two beauties there with you.
Well, I told you that right away. I mean, I'm a lucky guy, man. What can I tell you? But hold on a minute. Yeah. So anyway, the thing is that and your question to me a moment ago was I can't remember what you asked me. I'm sorry. You're up. Oh, my background when I was a kid and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. So born in London, not that far away from where our current coach was born and raised. I played for a team called Crystal Palace, and I played there for 4 or 5 seasons from leaving school, and had the opportunity to come to America in '75 when I was just like 20, just turned 20 years old, and got very, very fortunate there because I played with some wonderful, gifted players, and as a result of that, we won the North American Soccer League, which was great. It was so inspiring, and I had such a great time that I went back to my club and I said to them, I want to come back to America permanently. So in 1976, I came over here permanently and played for the Rowdies for 2 more seasons, and ended up retiring when I was just about 30. And then in Tampa here, we opened up some companies and got into the IT business for a number of years. That's my story.
Hey, Mark, can you do one thing for me real quick? Just one more time?
Yeah.
You ready? Dun, 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 dun. I'm just kidding with you, my friend. Oh, Mark, it's been so great talking with you today. I look
You're
forward to talking with you
inspiring great
so
memories,
much
and that's
more.
what the Rowdies are doing now, with them reaching out to iconic members of the soccer community in Tampa Bay. Why don't you bring those lovely ladies down one Saturday, and you can have a few pints, and I don't know if we have chips here, but I'll make sure we get them.
Chip, that's just fries. I'm almost certain.
Yeah, I can handle that.
We have French fries and we play soccer here.
Yeah, join us on our video stream, and we'll have some fun, my man. How's that sound?
That sounds like a brilliant idea. In fact, we're coming over to St. Petersburg right now to hook up with Big Daddy Clyde Best to spend some time with him and his family.
And,
so
and
be careful what you wish for.
And that's it. Bring him over, and that's at the Palladium again tonight, right?
Yeah, 7:30 tonight. Yeah. It's a great story, man. It is a great story. If people go and watch it, they start crying their eyes out.
I've been seeing a bunch of stuff hyping up Clyde Best and a lot of other things and I think they did a documentary or something because he's one of the first black football players for I believe, who was it? The West Ham United.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, he's the real deal, and he wasn't received very well, And I'm talking about the supporters now, the fans, So unlike us, typically, we are 95% Tampa Bay Buccaneers supporters that go out and watch the games, and a few people come supporting the other teams, right? In London, because everything is so close, it's like almost like 40-60%. So you've got 60% of your own supporters and 40% are your opposing supporters. I mean, it's big. So basically, these supporters, they chant loads of stuff, and it gets really, really ugly back in the day. And that was one of the reasons, to be quite honest with you, what was so intriguing coming to America. The crowd, they would boo you if you didn't do very well, if you wasn't very, very good, and they'd cheer you if you was very good. And it was none of this like derogatory type stuff that was going on. It was horrible. So it was a very, very big attraction. And people like Pele and all these great players that would come over, they couldn't believe just how great the crowds were. It was an amazing period of time. And I'm glad that it's being brought up a little bit more, by Clyde and his group.
Well, you were fortunate to play during a fabulous time with Pele and the incredible crowds he draw. It's kind of like, the Messi syndrome today worldwide. And so we'll get you down here, my friend. I'm glad that was your turn signal and not a timer you set to cut us off. I look forward to seeing you down here at Ferg's, my man.
All right, sounds good, Mike, and the team there. Hey, great talking to you guys, and one of these days I'll take you up on that beer.
It was an honor.
Not just one beer. You're an Englishman.
Let's get a pitcher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Numerous pints.
You got an Irishman over here. We got to go at least 3.
Oh, yeah. All right. Tell your lovely bride thanks for her patience and her sister, and we'll talk to you soon, man.
Oh, she just said to me that if she had patience, she'd be a doctor. All right, guys, take care.
All right. Thank you very much. Mark Lindsay.
Bye.
Just told you he'd be a superb conversation.
Mark.
Speaking of superb conversations and interviews, and now you boys are in heaven now that I had to pay a large sum to get him down here.
Yes.
But Peter Gollenbach, and did Wendy put that name tag on your? Wendy put that name tag on your shirt.
Yeah, she's got mine. I've got hers.
So no women would be sniffing around you.
That's the idea.
Gotcha. All right, a little closer to the mic there, Peter.
Okay.
But anyway, I appreciate you coming down. As we mentioned in the opening, you've penned over 40 titles, majority of them all sports and baseball, and 7 Billy Martin, Bronx Zoo, the number is your most successful.
Well, baseball's all that matters, Mike.
Well, I know
that's what
that
makes the
you
world
guys.
spin.
Yeah. So I appreciate you as always coming down and joining us.
My pleasure.
Right, take it from there.
I didn't get to. You watched the Rays game last night, Pete?
I absolutely watched every minute of it.
Tell me the significance of seeing the pitchers, seeing Rasmussen and McClanahan and Martinez in the dugout, playing with their ears, standing on the edge of a dugout in they've been playing so great, but in what could have been a 2-0 loss, the throwaway game. What does that mean for this team that you see this way this Rays team is bonded this year?
This is the best Rays team I've ever seen.
Yeah. Okay.
And I'm talking about this is a team that's been playing since 1998.
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm.
And the weird part of it is you don't know who half these people are.
We're learning.
Well, that's a common story.
Well, no, it's not. I mean, sometimes you go, okay, this guy's at first, this guy's at second.
Yeah.
This guy's at short. Camanero's going to play third.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody's at catcher.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
With putting Chandler Simpson, bringing him the other night when they asked him in the ESPN game, he said, we're going to bring him in. They bring him in bases loaded. He hits up the middle. Everybody says, and I hear a lot of people saying, you got to put him in the top 3. You got to put him in the leadoff. I get that argument, but also I think having a guy moving the order around like Kevin Cash is doing. First of all, how do you feel about it, and where have you seen that in your history in covering baseball?
I mean, Kevin Cash has taken a lot of criticism.
Lumps, yeah.
because after they won, after they got to a couple of World Series, everybody expected them to get to the World Series every single year.
It's that easy, and the
Yeah.
other 28 or
You
9
know,
are trying.
and when you're paying your entire team, $87.57, you're not getting to the World Series every single year. That's just not going to happen. But this year, I mean, it's funny. The whole world is now going with sabermetrics, analytics.
It plays. It tracks.
I'm doing
Literally.
a book with Sandy Alderson right now, and Sandy was the guy who started all of this
Right.
back in the 1980s. The idea being, if you want to win games, you want hitters who will do two things. They will hit home runs, and they will walk, and they'll get on base a lot. And we don't care if they strike out. Okay? We don't care if they strike out. As long as they get a certain number of home runs, as long as they walk, as long as they have good on-base percentage, we will win games.
But it's more
I mean,
than
Earl Weaver started this back
Yes.
back when.
Yes.
Nobody knew what it
Old
was
skipper
called.
of the Orioles.
Yeah, and
The
the
skip-
Orioles played that. And this is almost Orioles, old school Orioles style
Old-
ball they're playing.
Old school ball.
And let me ask you this though: it's more than that because sabermetrics has moved to all the other 29 teams, but it
Oh,
just,
we started it.
But and it proves and the big salaries. I mean, okay, your Yankees, your second team Yankees, they're doing it, but there are other examples that just throwing money at sabermetrics doesn't work. What is it about the Tampa Bay formula that works year in and year out?
Well, somehow they take pitchers who other teams release. We have this guy. His name begins with L. It's about 9 letters long. I've never heard of the guy. The guy shows up. He's pitched in the last 4 games in a row.
Last night, and he's
Last
executing.
night, the
And
night
he's-
before, the
and
night
he's-
before, the
he's-
night before. I
he's-
never heard of him.
He's throwing a fastball in all 4 quadrants, and they make the reference back to Roger Clemens.
So you say to yourself, how is it this other team let this guy go?
I'll tell you
And
what,
he's not the only
Another
one.
guy like Nick Martinez.
Nick
Oh,
Martinez.
He's
was
another guy
one.
that they wanted to get rid of. He's got 20 innings and only 2 earned runs with a 1.71 ERA.
And we have another pitcher by the name of Matz,
Yeah.
M-A-T-Z, who we never heard of.
Mm-hmm.
Who is this guy? And he shows up, and he's one of the best pitchers on the roster.
Can I ask you something?
Yeah.
Can a team that has a big salary, big salary, do they have the availability, the ability to have a thing like the Rays do where we give pitchers a chance to come back and we're saying we're not committed to a $400 million salary. We're going to figure out a way to make it work for us, and we're all going to, that rising tide is going to lift all boats.
Well, the thing is, if you're the Yankees or if you're the Los Angeles Dodgers, you want stars.
yeah.
So,
You want stars. And if you've got the Yes Network, I was told the other day that the Los Angeles Dodgers make $150 million on their TV
On
network.
TV?
On TV, $150 million.
Well, the Yankees have got to be pretty close.
Yankees, not quite. But even if they make 100, they can have a salary of $300 million. The Dodgers, every single one of those players on that Dodgers team is making a small fortune. And of course, the Dodgers are doing very well. And so you take a team like the Rays. What is the? I don't think their salary's 100. I don't think the whole team's making
It's
100.
a little over 100 now. I know that.
Close.
they're still planning to market. This is what you're doing. That's why they said, "Oh, new owners buy the team. We're gonna all of a sudden we're gonna sign. We're gonna go get Dante Bichette."
No.
And it's like not that we don't
No,
want.
no.
We got to still
Look,
dance with the one that brought
these
you.
new guys paid $1.7 billion to buy this team. Stu Sternberg right now has a huge smile on his face. So after paying $1.7 billion, are you then going to go out and get Bo Bichette?
No.
Hell no, you're not going to do that.
Bo Bichette.
We're between 87 million and 103 million for our payroll this year. We're 27th or 28th in terms of Major League Baseball.
And we are the third best team in baseball.
Well, and here's the reason why we're talking about a lockout in 27. We're talking about a ceiling and a floor.
It's a guarantee.
It's a guarantee, but we're talking
Because the lockout is a guarantee. You may not see any baseball at all in 27, which is a shame.
which means the Rays stay here till 29 at least.
You
because it
believe
carries
that in your heart of
contract
hearts?
An extra year.
I absolutely believe it in the heart of hearts.
Who's going to come to the table?
Because right now the system is such. I mean, take the Boston Red Sox, for instance, okay? The Red Sox let go Mookie Betts. The Red Sox let go what's his name, the third baseman.
Bregman.
And there's another one they let go too.
Oh,
Who we were watching playing against the Rays yesterday.
Yastrzemski?
No, big with a D. Shit, I can't think of his name, but it doesn't matter.
That's okay, I'm
The
with you.
point of the matter is this: what the Boston Red Sox are doing right now are not investing in baseball players. The Boston Red Sox have bought a European English soccer
What
team.
is that all about?
The Red Sox, from what I understand, are buying the Penguins in the National Hockey League.
They were involved in LIV too,
They were involved in LIV, which is another
which is gone. Is going to
joke.
be gone.
And they're also involved in, from what I understand, buying buildings surrounding Fenway Park.
Diversification.
That's what it sounds like, though. When you hear the Rays, when they talk about their new stadium, it's more like a real estate deal, especially with
That's
a
what
lot
it
of
is.
these teams. They're finding more value in the real estate around them than the actual team itself.
Well, it turns out it's very difficult to make money owning a baseball team. You and I don't know it because we don't care. But the fact of the matter is, I understand that when you own a baseball team and you play, say the Rays play the Red Sox at home, at the end of the game, the Rays have to write a check for the Red Sox for like 10% or 15% of the money they make in that game. So they're sharing the money with the visiting team.
Well, Connie Mack figured that out.
Well,
I mean, a little bit. He lost the team in the Great Depression.
Yes, he did. But you know, you also have the teams that spend more than a certain amount of money having to pay the
Luxury tax.
the poorer teams a luxury
Hey,
tax.
we've got to, you got to have someone to beat up on, even though we beat them up. But
Yeah.
Well, and so apparently there are a lot of teams more interested in the money than in winning a World Series.
That's in every sport, unfortunately.
that's true.
That may be, but if you're rooting for one of those teams, you know how frustrating that is. to root-
Colorado Rockies are a prime example.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness, I understand that. That's the
My
ownership.
son's a season ticket holder, and I've been to Coors Field, and it's a spectacular.
It's
venue.
$5 beers.
And they're offering everything to the fan base, but just and they're owned by the Montforts, the cattle giants, and it's just a horribly run. And that's a prime example of what you're talking about, Peter.
Well, it's funny because this year the Rays started out 2-5, and the wailing that you heard from the Rays fans at that point was really unbelievable. They should sell the team. This team is terrible.
They
Who
just
are
sold
all
them.
the?
I
who
mean,
are-
they were. I mean,
who
they were-
are all-
It was a,
stadium.
it,
People
it
were
was
in
a
the stadium.
reversal of what the Rays were known for with the bullpen struggling.
Oh my goodness,
That was
my
a scary
goodness.
thing.
And then all of a sudden, this team is now 23-13.
Heart and hustle, baby. Heart and hustle.
But the point is, they're not playing analytics baseball.
Right.
There's
they're
one
playing-
home run. There is one home run hitter on the Rays team. One. Our third baseman.
Aranda's.
Rhonda sort of.
He's
Okay.
he's coming around.
He's there.
Yeah.
So okay, he may hit 25. But I mean, it's not Canseco and McGuire.
Yeah.
The
If
hit
you look
show.
at the you look at
Well,
the
nobody's
Yankees.
juicing these days.
You look at the Yankees lineup, for crying out loud, and they got Stanton, who's on the DL, and he's the 5th best home run hitter on that team. I mean, that team's a monster team.
And Rodon's coming back. They're going to get pitching back. This is the Rays and the Yankees. It's right now early on. It's the best. It's the best series in
oh,
baseball
yeah.
competition wise.
Oh, without a doubt. But the idea from Rays fans that this team is as good as the Yankees, and they are, but
They proved it.
they're not doing the same thing. They're not playing the same way. Who these invisible pitchers are, who are throwing these
They're
shutouts?
throwing invisible
It's
pitches
like-
because people aren't hitting them.
It's like you watch these games. I went to a number of the home games, and I just sat there enthralled by the way
Yeah.
they were playing the game.
Exciting.
It's pitching and defense.
They're leading the league in bunts, by the
For
way.
13 games, they never gave up more than 3 runs.
Yep. That was that win streak.
That win streak. They never gave up more than 3 runs during those 13 games, and most of the time it was 1 run or no runs. And the way they scored the runs was bunting and stealing bases and being smart and getting a blue pit here and
Look
there.
at Ben smiling from ear to ear.
Hey,
Yeah.
I've been begging for this for years, and I wish they would have done this when the shift was in play. Imagine that when there was nobody on the entire left side of the field, and nobody wanted to lay down a bunt then, and now all of a sudden we want to do it, and we're seeing the benefits of it.
Well, because back then, when analytics was at its prime, you didn't bunt, you didn't hit and run, you didn't waste outs,
Right.
you hit home runs.
We're seeing the same development in baseball that we see in the NFL. Like, it goes to a passing league, goes back to a running league, and the team that's willing to adjust first is usually the one that'll have the most success early on.
Well, for a year or two.
And you got to do
That's
something.
all
you
you get.
Get the lowest payroll in baseball.
You get
gotta-
a year or two is
you
all
gotta
you
crush
get.
it, yeah.
But when you're getting that year, boy, you better come out to the ballpark and watch these guys play.
with the invisible little pitchers, because somehow this team's the best team in baseball.
Invisible. Hey, I got to ask you guys a question. I don't like to be negative for the most part. But was it 2 years ago when we had this incredible start, too?
The offense, though, that was analytics. We were swinging at everything for the fences, right?
Yeah, but we had an incredible start. And
We got rid of all of our power. They gave it all away. It's not here anymore. Tell me, how in the right mind a human being with any brains whatsoever can trade away a Rosarina?
When you have Randy Land and he sits in it before he leaves for
yeah, he was
Seattle.
an attraction. He was putting butts in the seat.
That was Tampa.
You had thousands of people sitting in the left field stands.
I did one. I did a couple games
Yeah.
just to get the vibe.
And you got a yellow shirt as well.
Yeah.
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 And I went and looked up who they traded him for. I have no idea who those three people are.
Bag of
I don't know.
popcorn and,
no, they may,
draft.
they may well they were not pitchers, they were hitters,
They weren't invisible.
and maybe they'll show up in 2032.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Peter, can I ask you something?
What?
The very nature of a team, like a Randy Rosarina, who after he's traded, literally sits that game with his family before he departs. He sits in his own day. That being part of Tampa Bay, if the Rays were to move somewhere else, let's hypothetically down the road, whatever, does baseball lose an image with that? And has it come to really that they're going to chase the best land deal and money? Or doesn't baseball want to be in a city like Tampa Bay, especially up and coming like they are?
Well, there are obviously two views. There's one view by you and I,
Right.
by you and me, that moving out of St. Petersburg is horrible. I mean, there's no reason for it. No reason for it. Now, we were going to have a team forever. It hadn't been for that GD storm. The storm ripped the place up, and as a result,
it wasn't the storm. It was the phone call that someone made to Stu right after the storm, and they said, "Look, we got a chance to grab 100 acres. We're going to get the state to pay for the college to move. We're going to move into Tampa. It's not even going to have to vote for.
yeah, but
and we'll give you
if there
1.7
had been
billion."
no storm, this thing would
Yeah.
have gone through.
Because he was contractually obligated because we had signed it to start
Right.
that following year.
Right. So we had the storm,
The storm created an opportunity.
and it did, and now they're supposedly going to Hillsborough County,
If it works
and now
out.
they have to decide whether the people from Hillsborough County are going to spend $1 billion to build this ballpark. And, the reason we ended up with a ballpark in 1984 is that they had spent so much money on the football stadium and so much money on the hockey arena,
Yeah.
the public, that they weren't going to put up any money at all for a baseball stadium. And I'm convinced right now they're not going to do it now.
No, it's so hard.
The deal was in place. You have the evil that we knew, which was Stuart Little Sternberg, and now we have Ken Babylon Babby, who's saying that the fans,
that's new.
that the fans
Hashtag
deserve
that.
this.
Hashtag that.
He's saying that the fans deserve this in Hillsborough County, and
There are no fans.
There's no
There are
fans.
there are no Hillsborough fans.
Well, you want to know
And-
what busts my balls entirely? When J.P. Peterson says,
I knew you were gonna go
it's,
there.
It's a stadium that didn't work in a bad. I love St. Pete, but it's a state. You know what, J.P. The Little League field I played had Sandspurs on it, but there's still the best
Well,
memories
how
I had in
about
my
this?
entire life.
How about all of the St. Petersburg Rays fans stop listening to the J.P. Peterson show?
Well, he's the only thing they got
How
on
about that?
locally that time
I
of
like the
day.
sound
But
of
Dan
that.
Cilio on the Big
I
Apron.
mean, I would-
He doesn't have. We just launched our little YouTube channel, and we're seeing a lot of growth. And I'm excited about it. So I've been kind of monitoring, the guys that are doing it, and I respect his talent.
Yeah.
But he doesn't have, the followers that you think he would have. with his channel.
Well, he
either.
sure doesn't have us.
And I want to say this, and I know I brought it up last time I was on the show. You know, they did the draft party here in St. Petersburg, and I know there was the BTS concert, but they talked about Ybor City being a spot for the Rays. Well, why didn't you hold the draft party in
A
Ybor
shot for
City?
shooters.
Why? Because you're not going to take your kids there. Why didn't you hold it at Hillsborough Community College, this great spot? Because it's strip clubs and traffic and nothing else
Well, you
there.
wanna know what it felt
You
like to
hold
me?
it here in St. Pete because this is where the young people are. This is
Yes,
where it's
it's
growing.
hip.
There's
and you
multi-million
can
dollar
still bring a
condos.
family and walk up and
It's
down
safe.
Central.
It's
Can
the
I-
best spot to be.
Can I tell you what it was though, Ben? To me, what it felt like, felt like the Bucks were saying, we know that the Rays are they're trying to do this thing right here on our front porch. They're going to lift their legs, so we're going to go ahead and show them how we can cross that bay. And I mean, it plays because we're all Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay is not a city; it's a geographical location. It's all of Tampa Bay.
Well, we're
But-
St. Pete,
Okay,
and this is our
Bucks,
team.
There
The
you go.
Bucks are not happy about this
No,
whole
they're
deal.
not.
It turns out that they're going to take half the Bucks parking away.
charge
Well,
them
and the
to
Bucks
there.
are going to put pressure on them because they want that. It's in their agreement. They want that stadium upgrade. And they don't
Absolutely.
want that money being allocated
That's-
to a team that would be perfectly well adjusted and still stay right here in St. Pete.
And I think that's
And
the thing that's going
we
to
don't
kill
want to
this
get Mark
deal.
Ferguson going on this topic.
I want to finish with
Bring
this.
him in.
I'll finish my thought with this. If the state of Florida were to come in, if that guy the district guy for transportation were to come up and say, look, instead of just widening sidewalks and doing crossovers, we're going to extend that train from the airport. We're going to tie in West Shore to Drew Park, go over to Waterworks and down to the water, Lightning and back. We're going to give you your light rail, but we got to get the stadium. That would behoove Tampa to say no to that because they're getting that transportation, the futuristic, taking traffic away. Short of that, buying the stadium, they are literally setting themselves up for failure, and that's why I'm sticking up for my sister city, Hillsborough County. But you know, we'll see. It's their play.
You and Ben should be the heads of the advocates for keeping it here, and Peter be on the board.
Don't worry, Ken Babble and Babby's going to buy us another round of beer, and he's going to make us all feel peachy about this whole deal. And it's a load of crap. It really is. I know that he's never once said St. Pete's our home. He always said Tampa Bay is, but it
I
only
just didn't
makes
like the
sense.
disingenuous delivery.
He's a snake. He's a
What?
snake.
Look, you watch ESPN, they put the Rays on TV and they talk about the Tampa Rays. So
I
you
know.
What do you want from these
I
people?
forgot. I watched that and I thought, what the hell?
Well, since day one, they've been saying that we're a crappy stadium, that we're this, that we're that. No, the Old Great Lady's a wonderful stadium, and people are posting this propaganda online about wiggling, things. It's a load of crap. It's a safe stadium.
Okay.
It's where you want to be.
Okay.
You're talking about.
got you.
You're talking about one of the support beams that
for
moved.
for
They
the
all
for one of the
moved.
stands.
They
They
all
move. It
moved.
happens.
I'm going to transition this
That's the
conversation.
problem with social
You
media.
been to Fenway Park? It wiggles a little bit.
Okay, you been to Wrigley?
You've been to Wrigley, which
Wrigley creaks.
The Ivy's coming in, and this is what my next question was. The Cubs don't have a player above 6 foot, and they're rocking it over in the National League. They're playing old school baseball too, Peter, aren't they?
They certainly are.
Talk about that.
Bravo! You can talk about my Cubs all day long, boys.
I'm throwing you a bone.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they got a great win streak right now going on in Wrigley, and they had 9 in a row.
It's interesting that they seem to be streaks. There seem to be 8-game losing streaks and 9-game hitting streaks.
Just so they keep, and I know you wrote a book about them, and it's a storied franchise, and there's a lot of positive things. I've met a lot of the old greats from the St. Louis Cardinals, but there's such a rivalry between those two, and it started essentially.
Cardinals right now are not playing great baseball.
I know, I love every moment.
And all the Cubs fans are going crazy.
Yeah.
It's funny.
I love every moment. And Harry Carey started that little rift back in the day.
Well, he was sleeping with the owner's wife.
yeah, I know.
So they
kicked his
decided
ass
to move him out of St. Louis
Yeah,
and
people
send him.
like,
He
did-
then went to the Chicago White
Holy
Sox.
cow.
You
Yeah,
know.
he did. He went to the White
He
Sox.
went to the
first.
White Sox.
But they
But
ran
they
him.
didn't have any TV.
They ran him out of town
yeah.
fast.
Oh yeah.
Am I right in Back to the Future or something? Wasn't there a prediction that in the future, the first World Series, although the Rays have been in 2 now, was going to be Tampa Bay versus Chicago? Wasn't that like a thing? Or what would a Chicago-Tampa Bay World Series, in
That was
2026?
supposed to be our team. The White Sox were supposed to be us. They were supposed to be the Florida White Sox.
And San Francisco,
And
too.
so
And
was the-
San
We
Fran.
were within about 1 hour
And the
of
Marlins.
getting the San Francisco Giants here. The San Francisco Giants had made an agreement with our first owner to come here. And Bill White, who had played with the Cardinals
Yep.
in St. Petersburg.
He was the spokesperson for the
and they had
Screwed us.
they had a breakfast for the yacht club where they only invited the white players.
Oh,
And Bill White and the other
Not
black
a good move
players
with Bill White.
were
No.
not invited. When Bill White found out that St. Petersburg were about to get his beloved Giants, because he had played there too, he went and found a San Francisco owner, was less of a dollar, but he got to keep the San Francisco Giants in San Francisco and not coming here. That's why we didn't get the Giants.
you know what, Peter and Ben and Ray, you should agree with this. I would not want a rich in tradition team like the Giants to move.
I
here.
didn't want a National League team. I'm a Yankee fan. I don't want the National League coming
Well,
here.
let me tell you why I agree with it on two fronts. One is that it very much tied back to the fact I was talking last night with someone about the fact that there's a history of all the green benches that went up and down Central Avenue here were only for one color of people, one race of people.
That's
lived in
right.
St. Pete, and it was still too close to that. But I'll go ahead and finish with this. I would not want to see them not have McCovey Cove and what they've done. Barry Bonds when he was smacking them in and they had the
Oh,
canoes
yeah.
and stuff. So I mean, baseball somehow historically always has a way of working out. I still think that St. Petersburg is in play. Maybe
Don't
things work
tell
out.
me that the Dodgers should have left Ebbets Field and gone to
No,
Los
that-
Angeles. Don't start.
No, I'm
don't
not going to do
start
that.
with
No,
me.
that was a different thing, and they took the
Okay.
Giants with
But
them.
that's what I'm afraid is about to happen here. We're about to lose our team. We're about to have a repeat of Brooklyn leaving New York, and
Gonna break
now
hearts.
and I'm sad to see. I'm as old as this team. I was born in '98.
Oh, you dinosaur.
This is my no, but like this is my team. Kids who grew up here, kids who are my age, people who are my age. This is our team. We grew up with this, and kids my age are starting to have families, starting to have kids, and it's sad to see them go. And I will not be a
They
Rays
haven't
fan if they
left
go over
yet.
there.
No, they
I
haven't.
I
have
agree.
not
They
left
haven't.
yet, and Babby is trying to pretend.
Optimism right there.
And Babby is trying to pretend that he's not killing the souls of the St. Petersburg fans by talking about moving this team. Let's all be friends. Let's all be nice. Come on. Continue to root for us when we're moving out of town.
He's not from here. He's not a local. He's a carpetbagger from
Hey,
up north,
I'm
and
gonna-
he doesn't understand
I'm gonna stand
that
up
this
for
is
my
our
guy.
team. I don't
No.
care. This is our team. This is from St. Petersburg.
Mr.
We
Carpetbagger.
deserve this
I
team.
hey,
I don't
there's
care.
no- even with the Jacksonville Shrimp and the Akron
You bought free
Rubbernecks.
beer down here.
Yeah,
Hey.
free beer only goes so
But
far.
here's the thing: Lon Babby, Ken Babby, even with what both teams successfully had in the minor leagues, he doesn't have the money to purchase this team. I figured when he came in, I saw the big money coming behind him, but I thought to have a chance, the guy that knows that baseball, that knows how to sell minor league.
It's a home builder.
Well,
It's got the
that's
jack.
the money behind him, and that's
Yep.
why the deal in Tampa is pressing upon this entire thing. I still think that deal doesn't get done. I still think the Rays stay in Tampa Bay. I just don't know if it's because, remember, guys, can I ask you a quick question? And I said I'd end it earlier. Doesn't that contract still exist that said if the Rays were in town in 2027, even if the stadium weren't built here, if it's built in St. Petersburg, you're entitled to half the rights of that district? That's still in play.
Absolutely.
Now, the deal they gave Stu Sternberg, the $700 million a county, lot villa, everybody getting a prime on that, that's done. But
Right.
there's still a way that it has done here. But I'm just saying back up because at the end of the day, we want the Rays in Tampa Bay. I know, though, Ben, if they're not in St. Pete, I know how you
If they're not in St. Pete, I'm going to be the biggest Philadelphia Phillies fan on
Ouch.
earth because guess what? They're still in Pinellas County. They're making improvements to their stadium. They're doing dollar beer
Yeah.
night. They're actually
it could be
reaching.
Blue, it could be Blue Jays too.
No, I'm not rooting for a Canadian team. It's not happening. But all I'm saying is that they had something sweet here in St. Petersburg, and it's not gone yet. They still have the ability, and whether that's here where it currently is, and they just build on the parking lot, or heck, there's the dog track right down the road. The dog track would be an awesome
It's
place
that
for
direction.
them.
And that's
like,
what I mean.
well,
And also-
whatever. I don't know. I'm turned around.
By the way, hey, that's pari-mutuel. That's pari-mutuel as the state has released that for pari-mutuality. So I'm wondering if baseball ever did want to get comfortable with analytics and sabermetrics being used to make that money, that could also be a place that you'd make money out front, and that could be lucrative for a baseball team, and we could still have the Rays in Tampa Bay.
I just came back from a meeting with Brandy Gabbard, who was on the council, who was running for mayor, and I asked her the question. If for some reason the deal in Hillsborough County falls through, what are you going to do to try to bring
I
the
was just gonna
Rays
ask you that. What-
back to St. Petersburg?
And she's running for mayor.
She's running for mayor,
sir.
and her answer was spectacular. She's going to do everything she possibly can to, bring, the troops together to resuscitate that old deal and bring the team back
Why
here to
wouldn't you?
St. Petersburg.
Okay, and then we'll have to close things out and talk a little hockey. By the way,
I don't know hockey.
By the way,
Ditto.
we've got a hockey guy for us.
Okay.
By the way, Peter was looking for you. I don't know if you noticed that.
Willie was looking for me. Yeah.
Willie was looking for
Yeah.
you, your dog.
Yeah.
Anyway, I guess I don't understand, and Mark Ferguson and I discussed this. Where are we in the event? It is a done deal. We lose them. How many years do we still have them across the street?
It all depends on whether baseball is going to have a lockout in 2027.
Actually, I got to correct you there. Because even if they get shovels in dirt next week, it's not going to make 2030. I think that they get the deal done. If it's done, I still think they.
So we got
I've
a
been
good
saying
five,
this.
5 years.
It's
I
been-
think
another
it could
7.
be at least 5, maybe 7. You said, Ben. I think the St. Petersburg will extend them. Happy to stay here. We're not going to screw them for the $15 million we had to pay for them to play over at the Stein, but we'll let them stay here. We'll figure something out. It's not like we're going to screw them because they're moving
so
across.
anywhere between 5 and 7. Is that the answer?
I like to think between 5 and 10.
But the lockout will affect it
Let's
by
go
1.
5 and 10.
I like that,
I like
Peter.
that better.
He's a great Peter Gollenbach. He's always a breath of fresh air. He inspires my baseball guys, Ray and Ben, to converse about the past as well as the present, and we appreciate my friend. How do people find your books?
Well,
Amazon.
I would say Amazon is the best way to do it.
Okay.
You could go visit Tombolo Books and order
Locally.
them there.
Yep.
And they have a couple of them at Tombolo.
A great coffee spot right next to
Very,
it.
yes,
Black Crow Coffee.
Black Crow Coffee,
Great,
which is
great beer
excellent.
spot across the street.
Right there, too. Or you can come over to the house and I'll give you one.
Okay.
Yeah.
And watch a ball game.
Yeah.
Because I haven't paid that $100 yet. I'm not even. I'm on the fence. I just come to Ferg's, the world famous Ferg's Sports Bar and Grill, to watch the Rays play. Because at Ferg's, every Rays game is a home game.
Every game I turn on, I'm expecting a knock on the door, and Tristan delivering you to my place to watch the game.
It's gonna happen.
Well, you see the
I'm
tickets
going
now.
out of
They
town.
got,
I leave it unlocked, so go ahead and
Thank you, Mike.
have at it.
they got those all-inclusive $49.99 tickets now. Free
Oh.
beer, free food,
Big
all
Macs.
that you can eat, man.
Big
I'm-
Macs.
They're
I'm-
doing things right from that
Yes,
perspective.
they are. If they should only keep the team in St. Petersburg for the next 100 years, we'll be very happy.
Here we go.
Yes.
All right. He's great, Peter Gollenbach. We're going to switch gears and talk about, we can't say great, but it wasn't a bad season. And that's our own Tampa Bay Lightning. And the puck stops here with Wyatt Ross. And he's going to give us a little prediction on what needs to take place in 2027, as well as a recap of, what actually went down. Because the Bolts, little I know, fellas,
The Bolts.
Bolts.
actually played better in that Game 7 than the Canadians, and unfortunately, it's the luck of the puck, right?
Yeah, I mean, when you hold a team to only 9 shots on goal in a Game 7, that should just tell you everything you need to know about what the Lightning did on that day. And it was a great all-around game, and the difference maker ended up being, and not to just kind of throw him under the bus or anything, but Vasi kind of stepped off the post to play a puck, and when he wasn't covering that post, he was able to sneak on right by him, and that ended up being the difference maker in the game. I was actually in Thunder Alley for that game. There's still 10 minutes left, and everybody was just kind of, you could feel the energy got sucked out of the room when that happened. It kind of seemed like it was an overtime goal at that point in the game, with just how it was going. The Canadians goalie, Jacob Dobish, there's a reason he got the first star of that game.
Stood
He
on his.
played
Kid
incredible.
stood on his head the
I mean,
entire series, right?
he was
stood
amazing.
on his head. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Absolutely. No, please. I mean, he was awesome. You were 100% right. He was,
Hurt.
in my opinion,
Alex.
he might have been the best player in the series.
Alex, but you talked about Vazzy right off the bat. Vazzy, got to talk about the exit interview. Got to talk about the eye roll. That's frustration from the world's best goalie. But is that, what kind of a, did you read it as like a chink in the armor? All of a sudden we're seeing like there's behind the curtain, there's a man working levers, or is that just Vazzy releasing some pressure?
I think that was Vasi just kind of frustrated. I think that was with the hockey gods question when they said like, does it kind of feel like the hockey gods are against you? And I think, and I'm just kind of just going off of what I read from his body language and his answer there. I think he kind of blamed himself a lot for that goal, for that second goal that went in. And when he hears somebody making an excuse for him, I think he was kind of taking full accountability for that and saying, there is no hockey gods that are throwing us under the bus here. There's no hockey gods that are changing the outcome of that game. It's us as a team, and we need to be better. And that is a very good sign going into next year. But unfortunately, the Lightning have their window closing, and that is not anything that you can go against when Father Time is coming up for a lot of the star players on that team. And they have maybe 1, hopefully 2 years left to really compete at a high level.
I'm glad you mentioned that though, because it goes back to the whole. You're talking to a gentleman who's he's a Russian goalie, and he also speaks good English. But you're also having a translation process. But for like 5 minutes, just that evening, like the whole world wanted to try to make that a deal. But you don't see that with this Lightning team. What changes though? Brisebois talks about this and that. A Hagel. What changes do you start to? I know you're too early to predict, but you start seeing maybe the Lightning might want to do, maybe looking to address this team for 2027.
Yeah, so I think the perfect example of what a team like this should do was done by Kyle Dubas with the Pittsburgh Penguins. They have an aging core. They have Sidney Crosby, Evgeny Malkin, Crystal Tang. And when he came onto that team, his goal was to keep them competing but get them younger. And I think the Lightning really, I mean, as much as everybody in Tampa hated it, I think Julian Brisebois started that process when he didn't re-sign Steven Stamkos and opted to spend that money on a guy like Jake Gensel. Jake Gensel was tied for the team lead in playoff points this year. Steven Stamkos had an okay year, but it was no argument who was the better player all around this year, as much as we loved him as our captain in Tampa. So I think Julian Brisebois is not afraid to bite the bullet and getting rid of some of our older guys
Kucherov.
and going. I don't know if I would get rid of Kucherov just yet.
I'm not saying get rid of him, but that's one of the players that you might maybe talk about that switch over, but he's still such a leader on this team.
He is a leader on this team, and he definitely needs to. I think the long off season is going to help the Lightning for sure. I think a guy that might also help is Braden Point, who kind of had a down year this year. It kind of seemed like him and Brandon Hagel swapped roles this year. Brandon Hagel kind of took on that scrappy underdog who was doing everything to keep him in the playoffs, like we saw with 2020 and 2021 Braden Point. And I would really like to see that Braden Point come back next year. But I think that what the Lightning need to do is they need to get younger and they need to retool while also still trying to compete. And unfortunately, that starts with, and this is my opinion, you guys might have something different to say about this. I think if we're looking at anything over $8 million a year to keep Darren Radich on the team, I think they got to let him go. I think Darren Radich was a great player for us, but going into free agency with how the market is looking right now, teams could be offering him $10 million a year if they really want a point per game defenseman like that who was shut down on the back end. The deal that the Lightning made with J.J. Moser was a great first step. He's probably the best defensive defenseman in this league. They got him on a great deal. But I think J.J. Moser, if he doesn't take a team-friendly deal, they got to let him walk.
I think you're 100% right on Radich, and not, I don't want to say short-term rental, but it is a deal. He's going to get that contract offer, and he didn't have any body language. He didn't seem to like give any indications that he loved it here in Tampa Bay, and this is a place. And that may be because it's coming from Brisebois and some of the changes his team is making, because he does seem to be able to read those tea leaves and make decisions a couple of moves ahead, like a really good chess master, doesn't he?
Yeah, I mean, he's always been my biggest problem with the trade deadline was I didn't like the Corey Perry trade, and that just completely proved me wrong. Corey Perry played pretty well for the Lightning at the back half of that year in the playoffs. So I fully trust Julian Brisebois and everything he's doing with the Tampa Bay Lightning. I think he is the best GM in the entire National Hockey League. There's a reason they went back-to-back Stanley Cup winners in 20 and 21. I trust everything he is doing, and I'm going to have some opinions about the moves that he makes in the off seasons, whether it's good or bad. I don't know yet.
Yeah.
But I think in the long run, I'm going to trust the process. I'm going to trust what he's doing with the Lightning. And I look forward to seeing what we do in this offseason coming off of a Game 7 loss against who I think is a top 3 playoff team in this entire I think it goes Colorado, Buffalo, and Montreal. I think that Buffalo-Montreal series, pay attention to that. That's going to be a great series. I think that's a great team to take them to 7.
You just served me a softball, because my very next question was relating to that, because those of you here know Wyatt wears his Lightning badge on his heart on his sleeve, and I was like going into this series, I'm like, I want to see Buffalo just beat the crud out of the Montreal Canadiens, and then Montreal gave Buffalo a game last night. You're talking about a good series. Are you pulling for Buffalo because of what Montreal, or do you want it to be like, okay, they're the team to beat us and they deserve to be the best?
I'm looking forward to a great playoff series after that, just in general. I'm a hockey fan above everything else. And that is 2 great young teams, most importantly. Those are 2 teams you're going to be seeing in the playoffs for a long time to come from now on. And obviously, I do still really love Martin St. Louis for everything he did for the Lightning, and he is the head coach of the Montreal Canadiens. I don't know if I'm necessarily pulling for anybody in the series, but I will say whoever comes out of this series on top, I will be pulling for going for the rest of the playoffs.
Is Martin St. Louis in the top 5? I did something the other night. I had a couple of beers, I'll be honest, and I was doing and I said, right after the loss, I said, I'm rooting for this guy because Martin St. Louis, to me, top 5 all time is Hall of Fame people in the players in the Lightning organization. Would he be in your top 5? Would he be on your 5, Mount Rushmore?
I mean, we only got 2 numbers in the rafters for a reason. I think Martin St. Louis is up there for a very good reason. I think if I had to give you my top 5 in terms of legacy and skill, I'd give you
Please.
the 2 guys in the Raptors, Cavalier and St. Louis. And
Yes.
even after a disappointing playoffs, I think Kucherov is going to be up there. I think his 86 is going to be retired for the Lightning in
yeah.
a few years' time. And I think going back to what I was talking about with Steven Stamkos, I mean, he was the captain of this team for so long, a
Yeah.
great player. And then that
Yeah.
5th spot, I mean, you could talk about a flurry of guys. Victor
Chris
Hedman for
Gratton.
one, Andre
Chris Gratton.
Vasilevsky for another one.
Yeah.
Who are you saying over there?
No, Chris Gratton, number 77, the OG.
Okay.
Vinny LeCavier. Javi Bulin was a great goalie. Of course, we had,
Yes.
who was our other goalie we had when we were in the playoffs over here playing, what was the Thunderdome here in St. Pete? It wasn't Javi Bulin, but no, I 100% love your top 5 because you named some great people.
Wyatt's been
right
covering
there.
this team since he was
That's
7
why I
years
love-
old.
That's why I love talking to Wyatt. Thank you, brother.
Yeah, I
Hey,
mean,
Wyatt.
it's not an easy top 5 for sure.
Wyatt, let's talk about the remaining games in the NHL playoffs. And one of the things, and I don't follow it that closely, that's why I rely on your incredible wealth of knowledge, is there seems to be a hell of a youth movement across the league, and they're making impacts right away. And the majority of them are coming out of the U.S. college system, a lot of them. Your opinion?
I think in terms of the NCAA with the new NIL rules, I think we're going to be seeing a lot closer to what we see with football now in the NFL, where the entire draft is all college football players. I think you
Yeah.
still are going to have those major junior leagues like QMJHL. They're still going to be producing top guys. But when you see the consensus number 1 overall draft pick, Gavin McKenna, going to Penn State and going to the NCAA, I think a lot of players are going to follow suit with that. Some of the guys that we didn't see in the playoffs, guys like Adam Fantilli, guys like Matthew Nyes, they came out of the college program. And then just in terms of a youth movement in general, this is a very youth-heavy league. The league is going more toward a faster, skill-based style of game, where if you look 20 years ago, it was a very different game. You had hard-hitting contact was
Yeah.
the prominent feature in hockey. Now it is fast skating. Now it is those edges on the skates, making good cuts. Now it is the stick handling. And those are qualities you see out of younger players. That's why a team like the Anaheim Ducks is doing so well and in the second round competing with the Golden Knights right now. That's why you have 2 of the best teams in the playoffs, Buffalo Sabres and Montreal Canadiens, doing so well. And that is also why a team like Colorado, they're not a younger team per se, but they play like a younger team. Their best players are known for their skating and stick handling, Cale Makar and Nathan McKinnon. That is where the league is shifting now, and that shift happens to favor younger players, which is why we're seeing a much greater youth movement in the NHL with guys like Connor Bedard and Macklin celebrating.
Talking about youth movement, give us, before we check out on this 2026 season, give us somebody, maybe at Syracuse, somebody coming up, maybe someone we're looking forward to be on the Lightning's radar coming into next season.
I think you got to look at that big Mikhail Sergachev trade we made at the draft. I believe it was 2 years ago now. We got a guy like Connor Geeky coming out of that Arizona organization, and he was included in such a big trade for the Lightning for a reason. He had so much potential, and I'll just be quite frank, it's been kind of disappointing so far to this point. But the Tampa Bay Lightning, there's one thing in common about some of our best players: Nikita Kucherov, Braden Point, Andre Palat, Tyler Johnson. They all came out of Syracuse. They all came out of the Syracuse Crunch from that organization. I do personally believe that is the best affiliate organization in the entire league by far. They are consistently producing top players. Even this year, Dominic James, Charles Edward Dastu, all those guys came out of Syracuse, and they were doing so great for us, which is why I trust their development on Connor Geeky. And I believe that next year he can be a great third-line center for us and only work his way up from there. It's going to be hard to beat out guys like Point and Cirelli for first or second line.
And that's crazy because Geeky this year, you're like, when there was a minute there where it looked like, what's going to happen with this Lightning team this year? We're thinking, boy, wouldn't that be to bring them up? And no, you could get more time down at Syracuse, which prepares them even more so for that. Yeah, fantastic. Thank you, Wyatt.
We're talking
Yeah,
to Wyatt
absolutely.
Ross, and the puck stops here. And I guess I have a question. With all this, the need for speed and it all changing, but one of the things that the fans absolutely love is to see the fisticuffs and the physicality, as they say. Don't you think every team's still going to need an enforcer type personality in their lineup?
100%. And I think that the best mixture of that is I think the Lightning have who should be spearheading that movement in a guy like Brandon Hagel. Brandon Hagel is one of the most skilled guys in this league. I believe last year he had a 90-point season for a reason. This year he was doing just as well. He, again, tied with Jake Gensel for the team lead in points in the playoffs for the Lightning with 8 points in 7 games. and yet he was still the guy getting in all those scraps. He was the feisty guy. He was throwing knockout punches against Yaroslav Koski on home ice. He was getting the team fired up. He was that gritty guy that they needed, who could also put the puck in the back of the net, and I think that is where teams are going to try and shift going forward. I don't think there's going to be any more guys, and not to throw shade at anybody, but a guy like Ryan Reeves or a guy like Matt Rempe for the New York Rangers, where their sole goal is to go out there and just beat somebody up. But I think teams are going to shift more towards somebody who has that skill associated, but can still go out and lay a body check. I think a great guy for that, who obviously he's retired now, but he would have been great for that in today's hockey, was PK Subban, one of the most skilled defensemen in the entire league. And he was still, especially for Montreal when he played for the Canadiens, he was throwing that body around, laying guys out. And I think that is the perfect example of what the league needs today.
We're brought to you by our good friends at Body Armor, the official drink of the NHL, as well as Ice Pick Vodka. We're cementing and expanding our relationship with Bert and of course, Fred Forsley under Adam's Guide. We're looking forward to that. Alt, the THC, we're going to have it down here at Ferg's now. The THC infused, all natural, only 30 calories. Another great beverage that we're bringing with the Shipyard Sports Connection Alliance.
Yes.
And then, of course, becoming quickly your favorite, Shipyard Export.
Oh, that stuff is like nectar of the gods, and they got
I
it
want to
down
go
here.
nectar of the god. Well, yeah, I guess I would.
Well, especially
in
when,
the beer world.
When Fred's handing me one, when Fred's giving me one, it comes from the man. But I got another question for you, talking about enforcers, and you brought it up, Mike. You ever heard of a gentleman by the name of Enrico Ciccone?
I can't say that I
Enrico's
have.
an enforcer.
He was a foot enforcer with the Lightning, and also I'm sure you've heard of a Rudy Poshek. That was another character. We've had a couple, but Enrico Ciccone.
WWE is in Tampa tonight.
Oh yeah, that rumble over at
So
the.
is that what you're talking about?
No, I'm talking
yeah.
about Enrico Ciccone.
I know
was,
you are.
Yeah, he was a.
It sounds like you're talking about WWE.
That's
love
before
some
my
WWE.
time.
You do?
I was gonna say, Look him up.
absolutely.
He's a 6'4" Italian. He was an enforcer with Lightning, and he was the guy that was more apt to a few times the gloves would go off even before the puck hit the ice on the puck drop, because that's alluding back to the changes you made in hockey. And guys, I don't hate to say that I went to a fight and a hockey game broke out. These hockey
that
this year,
attracts, an old boxer like me. I love it,
yeah.
and
I
I
think
like
the
it when you
fans
know
love
how
it
to
too.
throw a punch.
Yeah, right. The fans do love it, Wyatt.
On social media, you see fights breaking out more than you see the nasty goals that everybody's scoring. And I mean, I agree with that. I love to see. I think the best thing about the Stadium Series, even more than the 4-goal comeback, was Andre
my God.
Vasilevsky getting into a fight with Jeremy Swayman.
Oh, that was the best part of that thing. I was going to ask you about how epic was the Stadium Series in Boston, and we beat them, and it was cold, and it just felt so Tampa Bay. And that was, I wanted the Stanley Cup. I wanted Lord Stanley's Cup to reside in Tampa Bay for another year, fourth time. But that Stadium Series wasn't a bad consolation prize, was it? And you covered that, didn't you, Wyatt?
I did, and I mean, that was a great game. And I think that was the best regular season game, not only of this regular season, but in the past 5 regular seasons. You had a sold-out crowd at Raymond James, a sea of blue watching that game, the Pirates theme, John Cooper smoking a cigar before the game.
That was classic.
A 4-goal comeback shootout win. We had a goalie fight. I mean, that was just the epitome of Tampa Bay hockey, and Tampa Bay showed out for that game. And I think that we have proven that we are a hockey town, and they are definitely going to be bringing more events like that to Tampa Bay.
And that attracted a lot of fans. All right, my friend, we'll keep you in the loop to follow the NHL playoffs still. Your prediction, who's going to be hoisting the cup this year?
Yeah, as I've mentioned before, I am a big believer in the President's Trophy curse. But right now, Colorado is looking like they cannot be stopped. I had the Minnesota Wild beating them in that series. I think it's either going to come down to the team that's 6-0 or the team that's 7-0 right now, and that's Carolina or Colorado. I think Carolina looks really scary this year, and I think they're finally ready
They're
to
kicking
compete.
butt.
But I think that if Minnesota can squeak out a win in that series, I think it's going to be Minnesota with adding Quinn Hughes on the blue line for him. But if Colorado takes care of business in that, I think Carolina Hurricanes are going to win the Stanley Cup.
I think I know how Wyatt's going to answer this question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. If Lord Stanley's Cup is being hoisted in Montreal at the end of the season, is it good for Canada to get a little back since we own it now and he mostly lives here south of the Canadian border, or is Wyatt still going to say no way?
I think the longer the cup stays away from Canada, the better. I think that as long as we can keep
Said
the
like
cup,
a true American.
as long as we keep the cup in the red, white, and blue, I am happy. As much as I would love that for Martin St. Louis, I'll be cheering for one of the 7 American teams left in the Stanley Cup playoffs.
Fair
Good
enough.
man, Wyatt Ross. Thank you very much. Hey, are you a WWE fan?
I'll watch it if it's on. I do like watching wrestling, but I no means keep up with it. I couldn't tell you anything.
I can't watch
Well, let me tell you this though. Then I watched the Hulk Hogan. You have Netflix, right? Wyatt, everyone has Netflix. I just watched the Hulk Hogan thing, and now I'm following it with the Vince McMahon thing. Both of them are like 4-part series, like 5 hours long, worth a watch. They show WrestleMania 1, 3. Shout out to that. So I know you, if you like the wrestling, you don't want to do the pay-per-view for what's happening over at the Omelet or the Bench. I'm sorry, tonight. Go ahead and watch those. They're fantastic. Documentaries, if you will.
All right,
I'll
Wyatt.
have
We'll
to
talk
give
to
it a
you.
watch.
We'll talk to you next week, my man.
All right, and as always, go Bolts.
Go Bolts.
Wyatt Ross does a superb job. He's on his way to Syracuse next year. We'll be getting reports. That's going to be ideal for us, actually, with the Sea Dog Sports Connection New England.
In Syracuse with the farm system with our
He'll
Lightning.
be able to cover all that.
He better be covering the Syracuse team
So
for
Ben,
the Lightning.
Ben Bothan, you scared me. Mm-hmm. You love WWE?
Oh,
Ooh.
absolutely. Are you kidding me?
What in the hell is wrong with you? The young guys. Tristan, you guys all WWE guys? I like that.
How can you not
Struggling
like it?
to-
I like watching the old like WrestleManias, seeing Hogan, seeing the Ultimate Warrior,
Andre
you know,
the Giant.
Andre the Giant. Like
I can't
that
believe
stuff's
that
good.
ESPN collapsed and covering it like it's a
Well,
sport.
they won't cover
It's
baseball.
weird. Oh,
Yeah, if they're not
see?
going to cover baseball, at least show something entertaining other than the 15th game of basketball that hour.
Well, let me go ahead and say
Well,
this.
that's
I'll-
what they're supposed to cover.
Well,
I'll
just
tell
basketball?
these
Because that's ESPN is literally basketball central, and it's the worst thing ever.
I'll do a
I
shout
can't
out.
stand any more basketball.
I'll do a shout out to ESPN because as much as I rally against, we're coming to you from the Caesars or the MGM or the Hard Rock Casino studio, you can't gamble on wrestling still today, can you?
I'm sure you could probably put
No,
some
I'm
money
a-
on
You
can
Kalshi.
gamble on
your-
anything.
No, on your actual betting
On
apps.
Kalshi. On Kalshi,
On
you can.
Kalshi, that's predicting like the future in like a scenario, not so
Yeah.
much betting on Hulk Hogan to body slam someone. So maybe ESPN brings them in so they're like they can't legally gamble on this. Plus, we'll make bank on the fact that we're carrying them. Which again, that's just a media decision. But I agree, Mike. Everything sports, you're supposed to be the leader. You're not a leader if you're carrying
Well,
wrestling.
No,
It just started
wrestling's
entertainment-
legitimate.
It
It's
did-
a legitimate
it started
thing.
out
It's legitimate,
Entertainment
but-
Sports Programming Network. So the entertainment.
It's in
It is a sport,
entertainment,
too.
and
It is a sport.
those guys work harder than anyone else, Mike. When you
Dude.
see how their bodies are beat up,
Oh, no doubt.
Look at Ric Flair. He still comes around. That man's hurting,
comes around, he comes down and gets absolutely swatted.
as
Jello
he
shots.
should. God bless the man.
And let me see
I can't believe he's alive. He's had like 3 heart attacks.
Well, I mean, he's still kicking. He's strong.
I love the fact that he'll let people take pictures, but I went up to him that night and I saw in his eyes, I asked him if someone else wanted a picture, not me, I'd already gotten him.
Yeah.
And I could see he was done. And so I asked the security guard, I said, stay on him, make sure.
You should
and,
know better as a media guy, not
Well,
to be hounding
But I
them.
want to shout out that part of that documentaries I'm watching is 100% wrestling is sports and 100%, like he even says, the outcome may be predicted, but Hulk Hogan, before he passed, God rest his soul,
Yeah.
in this documentary said, I had 24 surgeries in 12 years on all parts of my body. Trust me, it's real. Or wrestling, it's athletic, even if the outcome's predetermined or it's a gimmick, but not a gimmick, but a run. It's
Well,
you gotta
it's a
respect
gimmick.
it.
Did you see that A24 movie, The Iron Claw?
Great movie.
Oh my God! Was
Yes.
that was a damn good movie?
Yes.
Getting to see kind of how it all went through, where one of his brothers dies on his trip to Japan, and
Yes.
it just
And the family business
in the
and what it
family
meant to
business,
them.
it
Yeah.
meant the world to their family to be wrestlers. And one of the brothers, he loses
Who
his
was
chance
it?
at the
Who was
Olympians.
Corey Funk. It was the Funk, wasn't it the Funk?
No,
Man, you're
it was
calling me
the
honest. No, look it up, guys.
what was it? It
I didn't know you were going to go movie
Iron
reference on it. Iron Sheik
Claw.
was the, I want to say it was the
it
Funk
follows the Von Erich brothers.
Von Erich, right.
The Von Erich brothers and their kind of struggle.
Oh, I saw
to,
that.
to
That was a good
survive,
movie.
really. And it's such a sad story about
Very
how
sad.
one brother or multiple brothers end up killing themselves, and the car crashes, the motorcycle crashes, and just never quite making it to the
It's like
championship.
the Kennedy family stories.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, not my Kennedy, but the Kennedys. No, but you forget. Hey, Gordon Soley, Championship Wrestling from Florida. That was the only channel. We got 2 channels on Saturday night. We got to watch on Sunday. It was Lawrence Welk. We got to watch Hee Haw and wrestling. And I actually had my grandfather, my uncle's father-in-law, was a professional wrestler.
Oh, really? What was his name?
Osborne. Ed Osborne lived in Seminole, right there on Park
Really?
Park Boulevard.
Well, this
going out
is
one of
the
houses.
hub of professional wrestling.
Why is that, I
here.
wonder?
Well, maybe it's the strip clubs down there. Because it seemed like that's where all the guys like to
I
go.
I could be a jackass from the north. It might be the IQ down here.
Oh, we got a high IQ, Mike. Are you kidding me?
Iowa.
Florida.
I'll give Iowa a try.
Florida. What are you
Hey,
talking about?
I get chastised all the time for being from Iowa. Idiots out wandering around. So I throw a Florida around once in a while.
Hey, we get a lot of crap because of our laws on the books that allow our public records to be kind of shown to the whole world, and we get
Florida
the Florida
man.
man study.
And you can have
You
sex
know.
with an alligator and not be charged with any crime.
No, it's
That's only
illegal.
fair.
It's illegal to molest an alligator.
That's
You've
what
seen
I'm
the
saying.
signs.
I'm
You've
telling
seen
both
it.
of you.
Oh, molest, like you mean just poke them. I thought you meant.
I'm telling both of you. If you ever are on a Fox 13 Florida man, we're done.
Come on, Mike. It's more eyeballs on the show.
Yeah, well, that's-
I told
good
you.
point. Okay.
When I was texting
We
you
should have
the
followed
other-
you down in Key West.
Hey,
Oh,
that was a time
that'll
and a
get us
half.
canceled. That'll get us canceled.
That was a damn good time. I had one of the best. It was the greatest wedding I've ever been to. Shout out to the now the Davises, Alina
Nice.
Davis and Luke
Congratulations.
Davis. Congratulations on your wedding. They're out golfing right now, Mike. They actually tried to get me to miss the show to go golfing with them,
Oh.
and I said no. I got to be here, but they're coming to Ferg's afterwards after their match. So I'm excited for them.
You're a good man.
But I will say this: you and I got into a little conversation about Ken Babble and Babby
Yeah.
when we were both watching the Rays game.
Yeah.
That man is a chameleon. He changes his colors no matter who he's talking to, and it drives me nuts.
will tell you-
He's the salesman of the.
Oh, yeah,
of the-
well, that's
of the
what he-
ownership.
Yeah,
That's
all
what
he
he do.
cares about is property. He wants 100 acres, not 80 acres here in St. Pete. God forbid you're 20 acres short, but he can get that deal done here. Hell, he could even get that deal done at the racetrack where they used to race the dogs,
Or
and where they
Sportstown.
should still be
Or
racing
Derby
the
lanes,
dogs.
Derby lanes.
Derby
lanes.
lanes.
That was the greatest spot on earth, Mike. And you know what?
I love dog
won.
racing anyway.
I won the Quinella on the very last race ever held there.
You still have the ticket?
No, I had to turn
It's
it
a
in.
collector's
I had to
item.
turn it in to get my money.
He had to use
What,
to
did you get
a-
12
he had to
bucks?
use to
It
get a
was
ride
12.
home.
It was a little over $1,200.
Hey,
I
I
won.
will-
1,200?
It was the
Whoa.
Quinella.
My man.
Yeah, that was a big one for
I will
me.
tell you
And,
this, though.
that's when you got hooked on gambling.
No, I've been hooked on dog racing forever, Mike. It was the perfect weekend.
I
You
will-
could go there. It was $1 to bet on them, and
Yeah.
it was BOGO on the drinks and the food. So you get 2 beers, 2 hot dogs, and you're gambling all for under $10.
Was that the last time you were at Derby Lane?
I was there. I got the hats. I got the beers.
Last
all
time you
the-
were there, though.
It was the last race ever.
Because what I'm saying, my guy Harry Berg, Harry the
Yeah.
Greek, we go over there. They do simulcast. They do highlight. They play simulcast highlight, and you can go out on the track. They do like on Saturday nights and stuff. They have like food trucks and stuff
Mm-hmm.
like that. So you go over there. The vibe is still there, which only says to me it's still an active parimutual
Yeah.
type of a site. Which
Other than
It
being
is.
an Amazon
Yeah, it is.
parking lot.
well, I want to go and about the Ken Babby, as you said, babbling Ken Babby. I'm not gonna, but he did turn multiple colors, and that was at the city council, the Tampa City Council meeting
I
there.
missed that.
Poor
How
guy,
was it?
We had to sit for 4 hours.
Good.
And he stood there, and he did. He stood there and took it, but he did turn multiple colors because I think at many times during the entire meeting when he started realizing that the cart was going off the path a
Uh-huh.
little bit and a lot. So
They need to send in the St. Pete Police Department to arrest that man
You're a
and
damn-
hold him on charges. Because at least we knew that, we knew Stuart Little Sternberg was on the FBI most wanted list.
Yeah.
We didn't know that Ken Babble and Babby, the carpetbagger that he is, was, out
How do
here
you
being
really
a
feel,
terrible
man?
person. I can't stand the guy. You bought me a beer and now you're spitting in my face.
Okay, you know what?
I can't
He bought-
stand this
he
guy.
bought 2 runs down here.
and don't forget January.
He only got me one.
Yeah.
I didn't even get the one because he came back the second time when him and Cosgrove.
Is that
and
the night you guys
Zalewski-
interviewed him down here?
Yeah,
Well,
it
that was
was.
that
I wish.
night. Yeah.
I wish I never did.
But I will say this though: if they remember wrestling, the WWE, they put 43,000 people into that stadium 9 months before that hurricane took it out. Right?
2
If
years
they-
ago,
if
yeah.
they bring WWE back next year and we do a Ben versus Babble and Ken Babby match, like a grudge match, cage match, that's going to sell that.
Hey,
place
all
out.
I'm saying is he is the definition of a carpetbagger. From the north, he comes down here just trying to make a cent off
Easy
of us.
on the from the
no,
north.
I don't. Hey, you're out there in Iowa. You're not really the north. You're not one of those people.
Thank you.
All right. He comes down here, and all he cares about is making money off of this area, not the people in St. Petersburg, not the people who
That's
have
what I don't like.
bled here.
Disingenuous. I thought he was real. Mark Ferguson, of course, the owner and proprietor of Ferg Sports Bar and Grill, America's #1 sports bar. He bought into it because he's on the stage. He's buying everybody a beer. And then after the superb opening day this year they
Yeah.
had, he's up on the stage with the Governor DeSantis, and I thought, here we go.
Yeah.
We're back.
Hey,
We're back in the hunt.
I invite him here. I'm pointing to you, Ken Babblin'
Calling
Babby.
them all.
Come here to this show and explain to me why St. Petersburg isn't the spot for baseball. It's only been here 100 and some odd years.
Yeah.
You know, it's hosted WWE. It's hosted the Backstreet Boys. It's hosted
Final
everybody.
Four.
The Final Four. This is the spot to be. Why are the Buccaneers coming over
It's
here and
hosted
doing their
Elvis-
stuff?
Elvis Presley used to play the Bayfront Center.
This is
was
where it
he came to
belongs.
play every time.
Have you not looked at the demographics, seeing the young people moving down here,
No.
seeing the multi-million-dollar condos being built and people moving in? Oh, I don't know. It takes a buffoon to not realize that because you're a bum, you're a carpetbagger, and that's all you'll ever be if you move this stadium out of St. Petersburg and into Tampa Bay. That's directly to you. I'll pay for the postage. I'll send it to your house, and I hope the police show up there and arrest you for what you're doing to this city.
I can assure you one thing. I'm not going to ask for any media passes.
No, give me a media pack. No, let me talk to you.
There goes.
Let me have a word with you because
goes.
that's ridiculous that you are saying the fans deserve. That's what really made me upset.
Okay.
Is that he said that the fans deserve this stadium at Hillsborough Community College. Well, then why don't you have a party over there at Hillsborough Community College? Because nobody wants to be there.
Well-
Why don't you have a party over there in Ybor City? Why? Because you'll get shot taking your family there.
Hey, now wait.
Don't go there. Come here to St. Petersburg where the team belongs.
I will say this though, because the reason why, and it's still, you should still feel that way, because the way he walked that middle line here with we're here, but we're actually there. At least they weren't trying to do to us what they're trying to do.
It's
to
a
Hillsborough
it's a
County.
half truth is what he's telling all of us.
Well, yeah.
He's you know he's two
Yeah.
these two guys, both Ken or not Ken Ken Babby and Stuart Sternberg. They're two sides of the same coin. Except one never told us the whole truth. The other one at least told us to our faces and said, "Hey, I don't like you guys. I don't want to
don't
be
wanna
here."
play with you.
Ken Babby, he's like, "Oh yeah, you're great people. We love the Tampa Bay area." No, he'd be happy to move the stadium to Timbuktu if he'd make a couple cents.
How would you like to be Brett Phillips in that organization? Because we all know that Brett, you know,
The only guy with some heart on that
Yeah.
on that
and former
squad.
Seminole Warhawk, and just a great cat, great human being who's sincere, and his true love for St. Petersburg and baseball. And he played in the bigs. How would you like to be him out there trying to reach his,
But you see,
his palm out to
I'm
the
still
community?
I'm still down here when Brett came over with them that night, and I get that a lot of things have happened since then. But there's still a lot of great things going on. It's still a celebratory time down because we got these 5 years, and that's been one of the things about the 2026 season that I want to keep in perspective. Is we're doing so great on the field, and I want to enjoy all this historical stuff that's going on, but also keep this separation of church and state. You want to hate, but also you want to celebrate.
No, I love the team. I love everything that's going on. Don't take my hate for the ownership and the new CEO and everything that they're doing to our local area as me not appreciating what the team has done and what the team
What
has
they're
to
doing right
offer.
now.
Because it's spectacular. All my dreams have come true.
Yeah.
We're playing small ball. The bullpen's working. We're scoring runs like mad.
Yeah.
There's nothing I can complain
trop
about
is back.
with what is
Yes.
happening. The old gray lady's back. The team's back. You know, Kevin Cash is still there, and I got my dilemmas with him, but he's doing a good job.
You
And
can't say one thing negative about Kevin Cash
Correct,
this season.
right this
No.
season, you're right. I cannot.
End of
I
story.
have nothing bad to say about
in the
this
present.
season. I am happy. I am thrilled with what the Rays are doing, but there is still this ominous cloud that is
Yeah.
looming over
But-
Tropicana.
Hey, keep it separated.
And I have to keep it separate
You have
because
to.
it's spectacular what's
Yes.
happening. And honestly, I said at the beginning of the season, I didn't think
It's
that
the greatest
this.
surprise that you could have thought of.
We all
Yeah.
said we didn't think this was a World Series team. We didn't think that this was
No,
even
you
a
said
play.
that.
I said that this wasn't even a playoff team.
Yeah.
And now,
Run the tape
maybe
back.
maybe I'm drinking the Kool-Aid.
No, that was 17 games, and we're still only 40.
Maybe I'm
45
drinking the
games in.
Kool-Aid, but the brand of
That ain't
baseball that
Kool-Aid you
they're
got in that
playing.
glass, pal.
I think that this is a team that can make it to the World Series and bring a World Series home to the old gray lady like she deserves.
Ooh.
I heard on the rumor mill in a conversation. Yeah, that's a wrap. That's a clip, or 3 or 4. I heard that in the event at the halfway mark of the season, they are going to invest in a name. a slugger, a name, because they think that will assist. I don't know if I agree with that. You've heard all the interviews, and starting from Kevin Cash, this team, they love each other.
Yeah.
They hang out together. 22 of them went over to a Lightning game the other night. And the guys that have been there a while said, I've never seen this kind of bonding.
Man.
You know, people always mention, they say, oh, it's baseball now. It's professional baseball. The guys don't got to really, be like a college team or even a high school team where the guys are getting together and getting along. Well, it's worked for 200 years of baseball. And I think that that's something special about this team is that these guys like each other. They're guys that are going to pick up each other's slack when another guy's not doing as well.
Yeah. And that's just talked to Mark Lindsay, and the Rowdies are doing the same thing.
And it's spectacular to see that, and that's what's going to elevate these Rays above. Look at the Mets. The Metropolitans. That's all the money in the world, and they're spending money on guys like Bo Bichette, but they're not a cohesive team.
Well, see, I'm glad you said that because if the Mets don't turn it around, remember I'm an OG Mets. I was born in '69. All that, but
you're a Metropolitan.
Well, no, I'm a national league guy. But I'm saying is that Bichette. You talk about buying a bat, a local kid coming back home, what that would mean for a team, and that the thing is the
Peter Gallenbach wasn't too excited about that move.
The prospect of him as a free agent, and I'm not saying I want him to come here with the money, but that would be something that if you bring that bat in because he's a local guy, the culture in this Rays locker room, that's the thing you're most worried about.
It's already there. He wouldn't hinder it, I guess.
He wouldn't hinder it, and he could bring that big bat in.
In addition, like Brett Phillips.
But if Bichette came back, if Bichette was the Mets are so terrible, they're going to sit there and just keep eating.
You think they'd get rid of him after spending all that money?
Would the Rays eat that money to be able to bring in a
No
name
way.
again?
No shot.
No way.
And anyways, and
It's got to be a bigger
I,
bat and a bigger name.
I love Bo Bichette.
Yeah.
Like I think he's a great guy, but he doesn't have a lot of personality.
Oh, he's third base anyway.
Didn't he rock you?
No, I got him out. I struck him out once, and he hit the world's tallest pop-up off of me. And so that's my claim to fame.
Your memories of Bo Bichette.
Yeah, I got him. I got him 2 out of 2 times.
He was at Lakewood, right?
Yes, he was. Yeah.
He was the Spartans.
Yeah. So I mean, he was a damn good baseball player, and I'll tell you what, in high school, he was playing third base in high school,
right.
And when I say I've never seen a player move like him, it's unbelievable. It was like he was on ice skates moving across the
genetics,
field.
Baby.
He would
There's
just
a lot to be said
glide.
about genetics, right,
His
boys?
father in batting practice would grab a bat and he'd hit one-armed home runs off that field. It was unbelievable.
And let me tell you, that's the reason why. And maybe I missed it again. I was right with Lindsay today with remembering Pele missing the soccer kick. I remember that instead of Vinny Castilla, Bichette was always the guy we wish we would have got from the Rockies back then and would have been part of that hit show because he's the Rocky we didn't get. And, of course, Castilla came and it was a different story.
Man.
You're watching the Tampa St. Pete Sports Connection on the Shipyard. I got to get accustomed to this. I'm looking forward to the relationship. The Shipyard Sports Connection, Tampa, New England. You're going to see all kinds of new content. You go to our YouTube site. Please go to Instagram and follow us. These guys are pouring their hearts out into putting all kinds of content out there that's very attractive. We're seeing a lot of views. We need more. We need more of you to subscribe and like us so we can continue to deliver this. Thanks to our great sponsors like Body Armor, Coca-Cola, Ice Pick Vodka, and of course Chichi Rodriguez, Golf Club and Academy, Primetime Preps, Dry Force Hydration. We got a new client coming on board. Dry Force Hydration. They'll be on next week. And OnePriceSwipes.com.
Speaking of controversy, not that any of our
None
sponsors
of our
are
sponsors aren't
controversy.
controversy.
No, but controversy with I'm hearing, and I saw this on Brody Brazil, and I've been following him because he's following the stadium deal here. But I see where they're talking about with the World Cup games here, July 11th through 19th.
And we're going to be doing a lot with
A lot. But
Stay tuned. There'll be a lot in the world of World Cup and soccer on the Shipyard Sports Connection.
Yeah,
the Sea
and
Dogs.
it was announced by FIFA going back that all the tickets were sold. All the tickets were sold. But strangely, in all the cities that are hosting, only one, Kansas City, has the hotel room bookings to accommodate the type of influx of people they're expecting. Now, I want to know, and I'm sure none of you...
Cheapest tickets $1,000.
And I'm saying, but why? Hey, if you're
For
spending...
soccer?
Yeah.
Hey, believe it or not, people are very passionate about it. They're not haters like you,
Yeah,
baseball
but how
fans.
passionate?
get it.
How passionate? Because that what I'm alluding to here is That's such a funky ringtone. I love
Mike, where'd you get that ringtone?
I don't know.
it. With the porn mustache, it goes right with
Yeah,
it.
it does. Hey, we got to switch gears now and have a conversation with Chris Blackwell, one of my favorite coaches in the community, and I know you want to have a conversation with
Yes.
him as well, Ray.
Coach.
He's
Hey,
now the head coach of the St. Pete Catholic Barons.
Yes, sir.
He had been with the Green Devils of St. Pete High for forever. The kids loved him. We loved him, and I appreciate you taking time to share the decision and the direction you're going now, my friend, with the Barons program. Being an old Catholic boy, I kind of like that, and and looking forward to you walking up and down the sideline.
Well, great. Well, first of all, thank you guys for allowing me to come on this morning. And I'm very honored to be very honest with you, and very excited now to spearhead and lead St. Pete Catholic boys basketball team. I thought it was a really great opportunity. I embrace change. Change is good at times. And I was just honored that they looked for me. They sought me out, and they were very persistent about what they wanted, what goals and what direction that they want to take their program in. And that was one of the main things that was exciting to me, is that they just didn't want a basketball coach just to coach basketball. They want to move the basketball to a program, and I'm just very excited honored to be that person to spearhead that.
Coach, first, welcome to St. Pete Catholic, and I had the honor of calling football games there for 10 years under Coach Mancuso and Coach Tom Pizzone, so welcome to St. Pete Catholic. And the programs that Coach Chinchar's, Jesse's building out there with the football program and some of the programs that we're building and strengthening for the Barons over there, what are some of the things you're going to bring now coming in there? Because you're staying basically home. You're a St. Pete guy, but you're keeping it up, and we're continuing to put it together, and then we can make it expand out to the rest of the schools. You can find that success, maybe build off that St. Pete Catholic program. What are you bringing to that basketball program first and foremost?
Well, I think the most important thing is to get back to the face of who they really are, who they have been, and when I think of St. Pete Catholic, I think of all the tradition that they've gone through, and all the players, that have come through there, and I think that's first most important thing is kind of tap back into that, the alumnus, and and like I said, we're going to have excitement, and we're going to win some games. Like I explained to them the other day, and a lot of people put a lot of emphasis on on the wins and the losses, but theoretically, it's we're gonna win on the court, but we're gonna win off the court, and that's the biggest thing, and so we're just gonna get that identity, back, and we're gonna be very competitive, and we're just gonna we're going to be successful. We're going to be successful. And like I said, I mean, we're not going to look and say, well, we're going to, model anything of what someone else has done, but we'll definitely bring that excitement that we had over at St. Pete High School, though.
Sure.
Coach, one of the things when I first met you, and then we sat down and had conversations and followed your career, it's a transition going from the public school system to the Catholic school. But even if people probably don't understand this, but you pretty much stood your ground in the public system, as and there's areas where, from a discipline standpoint, things might be eroding as far as the public's concerned, looking at that environment. You've always made your players accountable. As far as I think you're a builder of young men first and a coach second, and that's always been a priority of yours. But at the same time, you put some incredible athletes through the Green Devil program, and all the time, not hindering your integrity and your understanding how important it is for these young people to have life lessons through the relationships with Coach Blackwell and the game of basketball.
Amen. Amen. Well, let me say this here, and one thing that the word that you use that we stand on, and and we stand on that at St. Pete High School. We stood on it when I was at Lakewood, the junior varsity, with Coach Wright. And that's integrity. And that's one thing that I believe over you just you have that integrity, and you don't let anybody take that away from you. But I'm a man of faith, and and I believe that the young guys, they're looking for direction, and that was one of the things that I was, coming into St. Pete, that I wanted to give is direction. And yes, we are held accountable. I think, from, top to bottom, youth to adults. That's one important thing in life, is that, make sure that you are held accountable. But at the end of the day, I've been amazingly blessed with, with the players that have come through, the community that has supported me, the families that trusted me with their kids.
You built a program. You had a program, Coach. That's the key.
Correct. Yeah. Correct. And that's the important thing. I think that, and unfortunately, and no disrespect to any of the young guys that are coming through now, or some of the coaches that have come through in the last 5-6 years, really, truly, I look at the Dan Rice and the Randy Schumans and the Phil Prices, and that was one of the things that, when you look at those guys, the old heads, and you say, man, they have a program over there, and now the younger kids, it's like, well, I just want, I want to recruit your kid, and I want to win at all costs, and I think that's where they lose their integrity at, because, you kind of sell yourself out, so.
Yeah.
Don't you think in today's environment? Sorry, Raymond.
No,
I just
please.
what's on top of my head before my ADD kicks in.
What was I going to say?
Don't you think in today's environment, where you see high school kids, I've had kids sitting in front of me, and they were playing football, and then we had the basketball team on at the flip of the calendar the next year, and we're talking just months. And all of a sudden, they're playing for another school. I mean, and that's one of the things that's been tough for you guys to manage, is the ability for these kids to pick and choose. It's no different than the NIL world, and we know that NIL does exist in the high school world, and they try to keep it low key, but it does exist, and you're well aware of it. So I applaud you even more under today's environment of building programs and getting kids that want to stay because they love being coached by Coach Blackwell.
Well, and I do appreciate that, and thank you, and and honestly, true to a lot of the programs, a lot of kids they stay true to form, and they come in and they stay at that school, and and then there's some who, I call those ones that afraid of competing, so they want to go to which they think is the next best stop, and instead of getting, competing and grinding it out, and and they want it given to them, and we've been fortunate where our kids come in at, they earn, what they get, and then they understand that, I'm still a huge part of this program. Even though I'm a role player, I'm still a huge part of this program here, and so when you get kids to buy in and families to buy into consistency, and that's what we have done. We've been consistent. We're not going to, change. And you have a program, and you buy in, and they buy into that program. So, well, let me say this here too, because wherever I'm aired at, I just want people to understand, and parents to understand, that not everybody in college receive NIL. Not everybody. So that trickles down to say not everybody in a high school is going to receive an NIL. There's very few students in high school that may receive an NIL, and they're going to probably be a top 1%, in the country, in their area. But the only ones too that I'm kind of grasping that's receiving NILs are these students in high school who are performing at a high level that may be going to maybe the Olympics. Or in this baseball here, they may be skipping college and going to the professional level.
Yes.
I know I didn't get a dime.
Right.
Hey, Savannah State still recruited you.
I got a scholarship. I got my education paid for, but I never got a free sandwich over at Geneva's. I was mad about that.
Correct. See, so just because I'm going to, a prestige school, Florida State of Florida, that's not saying I'm getting an NIL. Because I may not be that 1 percentile. I just may be that guy that coach decided that, I could fit the mode of what he's doing.
Hell, I just wanted free parking.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, right.
yeah, well,
Right,
he's
right.
an anomaly. He went to an HBCU, and
He's a cracker. Is that what you're
Yeah,
saying?
everybody was
Like,
looking at him like, "What are you
Coach,
doing here, son?"
Coach, can I ask you? Oh, sorry.
Right. But see, the thing is that the things they're getting that's free. You're getting a free laptop.
Yep.
You know,
Things you
you're getting
need.
something
Yes,
to further your
tools.
education.
Exactly,
You know,
Coach.
Can I ask you,
So-
Coach? We talked.
Sure.
We talked this. I'm sorry. We talked about the fact that Boca Ciega High School didn't have a baseball team this year, and I don't even want to get into the whole thing whether they're going to give away $1 billion in Tampa. Education's got money laying around, but they can't fund sports. But you came from St. Pete and coming from Lakewood, and now going to a school we get to support it at St. Pete Catholic, which is great. The alumni support and great program. What can public school coaches around out here? What can some of the public schools do that can reflect it? What would you say going in now that you could tell public school coaches and families and boosters that they can do to continue to build up their programs in their respective areas?
That's a tough one. I mean, and I'm a public school guy.
sir.
It's just I receive a great opportunity
Yeah.
to come over and build a program. Which I continue to say I'm very excited about it. If there, St. Pete Catholic people are out there, please come and support, all the programs there. And I know that you do anyway, but let's fill the stands in the gym right now. But as far as our public environment, I would just tell the coaches, I mean, stay the part. I mean,
Stay the
true to
course.
part. Stay the course. And I say that because, we are not really coaching for the monetary, other money. You can't be coaching for the money.
Obviously.
Right. So you got to be one who want to change a life, and you got to be one of the ones who kind of, open up some ideas and some opportunities for kids. At St. Pete High, we travel all over the country, all over the states. I mean, we've gone to California, we've gone, we've gone all over. Let's just say that.
And you got some studs on those teams.
Oh, great teams.
Well, yeah. Well, they had a stud coach too, though.
That's right.
No, I'm just playing.
I'll
Listen,
tell you-
I'm just playing.
I'll tell you this. I going back to what you just said, telling the coaches out there what they can do, and there's different levels of competition, different divisions. It's the reason why but integrity. Give me a program with integrity. If I see a program
That's what
like
Coach
you said,
had.
right, and you lead with
We'll have
integrity,
to.
we'll look at the record second. But you show me a program that's making men and women of young boys and girls and showing them how to live. That's a successful program, and that's what you've always done, Coach. And that's why I'm so excited to see what we're going to do in your next chapter here at St. Pete Catholic.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. And that was huge, though, because I can tell the kids, one day, no matter who it is, and Michael Jordan, you have to put that basketball down, and who are you as a person once you put that down? So that's really important, and that comes with your integrity, and just everything else, that you're built up, that your family's built up, and it speaks volumes.
Hey, Chris, didn't you share with me that you had a military background in some capacity, family or something?
My brother, just my brother, not me.
Well, you run your programs like you might have a little military background, firm, consistent, fair. I always respected it. Well, we're up against it, the top of the hour, but we're going to get you down here. You bring the Barons down here anytime you want.
We look forward to it.
Spread the word inside the building to the other coaches that they want to come down and be. You've had the experience. We have a lot of fun. The kids like it, and who doesn't love Fergs? And Mark Ferguson said to give you a shout out. He loves
He's an
you.
amazing guy.
Yeah, he
He's an
loves you
amazing guy.
and
He's
all
running
you've done. And
for
of
mayor.
course, Jake was a graduate of St. Pete High. But bravo, man! They're getting a winner, and we look forward to following you in 26, 27.
Well, thank you guys, and I thank you guys for bringing me on, and and we appreciate what you guys do for the community and the Tampa Bay area, and we can just only be amazingly blessed with what you guys do. So thank you very much.
That's a commercial. Thanks,
Yes, it
Coach.
is. Thank you, Coach.
All right, Coach
Thank you.
Chris Blackwell. This is a superb guy. You've met him, Ben, a couple of times
Oh,
when
yeah.
he was on. And he
Yeah.
brought the guys down here, and he just he's done a
I think
fabulous job.
Coach just wrote my epitaph. That's what I want. That's what I wanted to say. Wherever they finally put me, my final resting place, probably right next to the Great Lady, next to the people that are still over there under the concrete.
Yeah.
I kid, but like he wrote. That's exactly why Coach going to St. Pete and integrity. We've seen that with all of his programs, and we'll see it continuing forward.
Well, I can't believe you brought that up, but Ben, where would you want your ashes spread in this community?
You ain't getting me cremated. You ain't,
Key West.
I'm not getting burned. Hey, I might end up in Key West after the weekend
Toes
I
up.
had there.
Toes up.
Toes up,
Did
baby.
you- Were the ghosts of Jimmy Buffett and
Ernest Hemingway. I got to see the Hemingway house, all the
Yeah.
six-toed cats.
The cats,
Mike,
yeah.
I was in heaven.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
Dude, last time I was
How do
down
you
there.
the condition you were in?
Oh yeah, how'd you find your way back?
How do you remember how many toes they had?
You can I got some pictures.
I'll bet you got the video.
He gets the videos and the pictures back, and he's like, "Oh my god!"
Delete.
Hey, it was a great time. I actually rode my bike a part of the way down there. I brought my bike with me, and I thought Key West was a lot smaller.
No, it's not.
Oh,
Getting out to the
man.
southeast edge.
Yeah,
by the airport, where the
I was
airport is.
dripped in sweat.
Oh yeah,
Dripped in sweat. It was rough.
The
Well,
sunsets
that
were
was good
beautiful.
because
Oh,
you sweat all that poison out.
Oh yeah.
All right, boys, we're gonna wind things up. Any parting statements there, Raymond?
We went 2 hours. We had a great show. I don't think there was a boring minute. Pete Gollenbach, of course, Mark Lindsay, talking rowdies, and I love talking rowdies. And you know what? There's no.
We're gonna talk more about it. We're gonna be sending
I
Tristan
think
down
I'm going to be
representing
banned
us.
from
Yeah.
the Trop after
And you know-
today.
Oh yeah.
My
yeah.
face is going to be on something.
Do they have face recognition when you go
Yeah.
through the turnstiles?
We're probably trespassed.
You'll
But,
be
I mean,
getting the
it's
old
worth it.
Buddha Road.
Hey, I don't care. I'm going to be there. I got tickets soon.
Way to fall on the sword for your commitment.
Hey, I'll die for St. Petersburg. I love it here.
You'll be going to a lot of Threshers games. All right, I'm Mike Rickard for Ben Botham, Peter Gollenbach, Mark Lindsay, Wyatt Ross, Chris Blackwell, Tristan and Jacob and Aiden doing a great job. Adam Fernandez, the director of our video streaming. Just make sure you check us out on our YouTube channel and on Instagram. Check us out. Give us a like. Give us a follow. Joe Bedreau, RadioStPete.com, FloridaSportsStreams.com. Rowdies and Rays are on a roll. Enjoy it. Maybe we'll have a return to Tampa Bay in 26. Thanks for listening to the Tampa St. Pete Sports Connection, a Shipyard Sports Connection production, wishing you and your families a fabulous weekend. God bless you. God bless America. And as always, be sure to have a championship day.